Hello, everybody, and welcome back for another After Action report. But this one is a little special because it's not Imperial diplomacy or like regular diplomacy, which I've never done, or anything else. This is another variant, which is called Colonization diplomacy. And I actually didn't play in this game, but accompanying me is someone who did, Salt, who played as the Netherlands.
Hello. Yes, this is a pretty fun one. I don't know how much of this King of Prussia has actually seen.
Basically, none.
So, yeah. So he'll be going in blind, basically. And
What I do know
he
is that
can't.
England was played by Firebender, so it's going to get coalition and killed at some point, as is tradition. That's about the extent of my knowledge.
I can confirm that. I don't know if it's spoilers at the point that we've gotten, but um, Firebender continues to not have a great time here. Um, because this is not imperial diplomacy, I do need to explain a few things before we get into it. So there are a few rule changes here. So the big one that you might be used to from imperial diplomacy is that coring is no longer a thing here. Instead, and so I can't core anything. So I'm playing Dutch, right? And Dutch have all these one dot colonies kind of scattered around the map here. And these are always going to stay one dot colonies because of that no coring rule. So if I ever want to build up any of these places, it's going to have to be very slow. So that's a pretty big rule change. But you might be noticing that there are some countries here that don't have any access to fleets, that just can't build, can't really get to the ocean at all. Um, so yeah, no coring is going to be a pretty big impact to them, but they are saved by the addition of a new rule, which is transforming. So how that one works is if a unit is on a center that it controls, it can enter in a order to transform into a fleet if it's a army, or the other way around if they want to do that too. So that's how you would get sea access if you're playing one of those countries.
Yeah, I'm actually familiar
Um,
with that concept because at one point it didn't end up in this channel because it didn't exist yet, obviously. But I played one called Saber and Musket Diplomacy, which was focused on like the Middle East, kind of this area, and that one also had the rule because going down this way, you kind of have to be able to be flexible. So the AAR on that is actually on Florida My Diplomacy's channel because we played that together. But that aside,
awesome. This is actually the first game that I've seen that particular mechanic in, so it's pretty interesting. I kind of like it where you can like kind of change directions a lot faster than you could with if you had to get fleets just through builds alone. But it also will cause quite a few problems that we'll see later on. Um, Dutch are not known to be the most powerful country, so this will be quite the challenge.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although you do have
There are a few more.
you do have
I'm
three
sorry.
centers there.
I do get three centers in Europe, which is I think that's the most consolidated region I have on the map. I have three there. I have a few in Indonesia. They're all kind of disconnected to begin with.
Yeah, because
Um, yeah, there's also like Ceylon and like that one dot in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
oh yeah, I didn't even
I can
notice that one.
kind of help connect that. And there's like South Africa, which is a pretty good region for Dutch. But this is kind of where I'll mainly be focusing.
Yeah.
I do need to explain how winning works in this variant. So there are only five powers that can win this game. So it can't be more than five powers, it can't be less than five.
There's a maximum, basically, is
The
what you're
game,
saying.
yeah, the game ends when five people reach their win conditions. I do mean win conditions and not supply center counts, because that is also different. Every country here has a required supply center count to reach to win, but they also have a set of three win cons that they need to meet two of and that supply center count to win the game. So we can start with mine. I'm playing Dutch, so
I can just paste
my
it.
win cons are to there we go.
There
So
we
I need
go.
to have these are kind of how the win cons look like. So you'll notice that my victory count is a lot smaller than it usually would be. Like a 12 center country in Imperial diplomacy is like 50 somewhat centers to win, I think.
Around there, yeah. I think 48 off the top of my head,
Yeah,
but don't quote me.
something like that. And here's like 35, which is way smaller than it has any right to be, I think. And that will be a theme. The colonials all have pretty small win conditions here, and regionals still have pretty high win cons. It's not as high. Like a 3 center country needs 20 centers to win.
18, actually, I think. Let me see.
It kind of changes because,
18.
like,
Okay, some have 18.
yeah,
Consistency
I
is
see like
key.
4 center countries either have 19 or 20, depending on where they are. But the victory conditions are going to be a lot smaller here. And these win conditions, if you look at them, are pretty difficult to do. So that first one, on at least for Hamburg, Hanover, Berlin, Munich, I don't know what that.
Stolp and
Yeah, I don't know where
Kuning
that one is. And then
right here.
Königsberg.
So it'll be out of these. What is it? These 6.
Königsberg too.
You need 4 of these, which seems like a
Yeah,
pretty tough sell,
it is a very tough sell.
especially because
So
this is a
they
fleet.
do. Yeah, I think Zuo is an army. I know E is. They're the tiny provinces up at the top. They have a unit in them, at the top of the map. I think they're both armies. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
armies. Then again, here I'm just gonna, for brevity, I'm just gonna select the whole map again. But then again, because of your
Yeah.
next victory condition, you might wish that was a fleet.
Yeah, only 6 home centers of the British and have more total SCs than them. This is actually pretty. It's harder than it looks, because there's no coring here. So I need to actually take real home centers.
There are only
There
5
are
here.
convenient. Yes. Um,
I
it'll be
guess.
difficult to take those with my puny European position, but it's a lot more doable than the German one, I think. At least
Yeah.
those are my initial thoughts here. And those are both like Europe focused win cons. And Europe is kind of one of my worst regions because I can't really connect it to anywhere else. So
And you can never
I could be
contest.
doing.
You can't contest the might of like France or Poland or Austria or even really Denmark. You have a hard time with too.
Yeah, it's an interesting time. So like I could be having an amazing time over in the colonies, and it just won't matter if my European position crumbles. And that is where Dutch are famously weakened. So it's not looking great. And then the third win con is just kind of the colony win con, but it's every colony rolled into one win con. So I do well in Indonesia, Africa, and then South America as well. That one's also, I think it's the most doable out of all of them, but still not the easiest thing in the world either.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
there are 2 more minor things I need to get out of the way. So those are rivers and
sea lanes, right?
sea lane. Yeah, that's the word for it. So like North Sea is the best example of a sea lane. And how these work is that you need to control the middle one to kind of get control of that whole North Sea area, but you can still move from like North E to North N and things like that. But if I wanted to, I could go from like Amsterdam to North M to like Bergen if I wanted to. And that's kind of a faster way to do it. I could like convoy through North M, but if I didn't have control of that space, then I would have to get control of like North E and North N to do that same move. So whoever controls like that middle lane between me, England, and Denmark is going to have a very powerful position against the others. That's going to be a very relevant discussion.
Yes.
And I have quite a few that I border. So there's North Sea, there's Malacca. I think there's a few around India as well.
Yeah, there and
Yeah.
there.
And then Somalia is going to be relevant later, I think. Might be.
Probably.
And then
if you do
there's rivers. Sorry?
I said if you do well.
If I do well, which is very, very big if. And there's a river in North America that's not really relevant to this game, but it does exist. So you can send a fleet down this river. These provinces are technically coastal for the sake of that. I think that's all the rules I need to get out of the way before we begin this.
All right. So with that out of the way, what were your thoughts coming into this game then?
Yeah, so my first turn thoughts were to survive. But more on that is that I think I really need to ally with Denmark fast. If you notice, Denmark borders me in pretty much every relevant region I have. There's Europe, but Africa is pretty important as well. If I want to keep that colony against Mali, then I need Denmark to stay on side with me, or Mali just kind of kills us both.
Yeah.
The Caribbean is pretty relevant as well. We kind of need to get that sorted. And they're also over in Asia, so if you notice, Mughals are kind of surrounded by colonials here.
Oh, I know. There, I'm blind. This is Portugal's color. Historically, yeah. Yes, Denmark.
Yeah, they're in the south. So yeah, I'm trying to kind of like work with Denmark and establish some boundaries with them early on, and they're fairly receptive to the idea. So I'm feeling pretty good there. There is a pretty big anti-Mughals coalition going on between England, France, Portugal. So Denmark's going to get involved in that from what I've been hearing. And I'm just not going to inform Mughals of this coalition at all because I kind of want it to go through.
What they don't know won't hurt them.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be fine, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mughals are so weak in this variant though, they have like no growth whatsoever.
Yeah, literally, I don't think they have literally nothing. Because in India, what will happen, at least in my mind, if the colonials are all working together, what will happen is Denmark goes here, France goes here, Portugal ends up here, England ends up here, and like here, for example, and then Persia's going to take Macron, and I don't know, maybe this, what is this, Chagatai, Yarkand? Let me see, the names are up here.
One of those.
Bukhara. Yes, Bukhara is, there's a decent chance that they just immediately do this, right? And just take Kabul right off the bat. Like, it
helps a little bit that the British colony is very weak too, but it's still a horrid start for everyone.
It does not help Mughals that much if this colony of Britain is replaced with Burma.
Which is exactly what's going to happen in almost every game, I think. It's just too easy to like move right into Aura and then just support hold, or it's just too easy.
Mm-hmm. And there's no reason not to. There's literally nothing that Britain can do about it except work with Mughals. But Mughals will probably want that dot just as much as, Burma. Right? Burma? Am I getting that right?
It's Toungoo.
The Toungoo Empire. Yes.
It is worth noting, and I'll try to bring up other people's win cons as they become important to talk about. But one of Britain's win cons is to take over almost all of this subcontinent here. I think all but 2 dots. And they're supposed to do that with 2 1-dot colonies, one of which is likely to die immediately.
Okay, I'm just going to grab it real quick. I hope that me taking screenshots is not impacting the recording negatively. Apologies if it is to others. Yeah, so here are English win cons. As you can see, own all but 2 supply centers in India and 4 in the East Indies. So, good luck with that.
I think we were there. There was like a joke going around and like around the game, just at how hard these win cons are for England to get. And it's not just that one, but like every single one of these is like impossible for England
Own
to get really.
three European capitals, excluding London, one of which must be Paris or Madrid. I want to be able to draw in Europe, but let me just illustrate like what the options are. Copenhagen, Paris, Amsterdam, Madrid, Lisbon, Vienna, Warsaw. Does Constantinople count?
Yeah, I think so.
Constantinople, like those are you need 3 of those, and one of them has to be Paris or Madrid. So, like, I guess you can get Paris and Madrid and Lisbon, but if you're fighting France and Spain and Portugal, I have a feeling you're going to get jumped on by Denmark and the Dutch. But that's just me.
It helps that capitals don't matter, like for the sake of like actually getting to a win here. So you can trade for them, but that's still a tough sell for anyone.
True, including the fact that one of France's win conditions is at least 1 supply center in the British Home Isles, while having more supply centers than the British Empire on at least 3 continents.
Yeah, a lot of these win cons are just to kill some power that is right next to you. It's like I think France also has a win con that is to kill me, which wasn't fun to deal with.
Oh yeah, own Rhine, Belgium. Let me zoom in for good measure, and we'll take back all of these paintbrushes. Okay, so own Rhine, Belgium, Eindhoven, Amsterdam. Yeah, this was the other part of the win condition is to have the West Bank of the Rhine.
Yeah, which wasn't fun. And Britain's third win con is just as brutal as the other 2. They need like 6 random dots scattered around the world.
It's like
and they're not next to a lot of them.
It's a lot of like the strategic ones. So like there's like the Cape and what is this? What's AND?
That's a great question. I know one of them is a Constantinople, but that's not AND.
Cape Malacca, Montreal.
Andaman, maybe? No.
Nope, there's no. That doesn't exist. Sorry, you're hallucinating.
But if you notice, a lot of those are dots that I currently own.
Oh yeah.
Like I know
Gold Coast.
Slave Coast is one of them.
Gold Coast Danish dot.
Yeah, Cape Colony, Malacca.
I feel like this type of win condition would be more balanced if these were all private. If everybody didn't know about them publicly. But the fact that
I agree.
But the fact it's known about publicly means everyone will know exactly what you're gunning for, and so you can't disguise your intentions at all.
Yeah, these win conditions are also like a big part of how you would choose what power to actually play here, because Britain may look very very powerful here. The North American colony is actually really good, I feel like, but none of their win cons really revolve around it. So you only really need it for getting dots for your win.
You need it for getting Montreal.
Count.
Montreal, that's it.
Yeah, you get 1/6 of one of your win cons if this North American colony does well. So Britain may look powerful across the board, but their win conditions make it a pretty weak country overall.
Yep.
What a time. And yeah, there are quite a few like that. Portugal also needs quite a few of my dots to win as well.
Oh yeah, let me see. Portugal. Yeah, that is. Let me just put it down here. 4 of Malacca, Cape Colony, Candy, but yeah, just four of Dutch dots basically. 4 Dutch dots over here, explicitly. Then 3 of the of this area where the Dutch are in Africa, And then 12 in South America, which just means they're going to have to kill all these guys, and there's nothing they can do to disguise their intentions about that. They can't be like,
There
oh,
is
that's
not.
okay, I'll go get my dots elsewhere. Because it's baked into their win condition. They don't win unless they kill you.
It really does set up a lot of fights to happen before the game even really gets going. I think it has made the game more dynamic in some cases, but also a lot less dynamic in some other cases. Like Portugal can never really work with a lot of these South American powers. It's just impossible, really,
Yeah, there's no
because
reason
these
to.
powers. We don't have to pull up these powers win conditions, but they you can imagine they're just to get like a bunch of dots in South
What
in South America. They
I'm
have
just
nowhere else
reading.
to really go.
I'm reading Mapuche. Ending the threats. Own 3 Portuguese home supply centers and either Falklands or Sandwich.
Yeah,
That's Falklands. Oh, that's Sandwich. Okay.
and their sandwich. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there were a lot of fights that you'll see happening just because of these win cons and the way that they're set up. But what it means for me here is that there are a lot of powers who have a very good reason to kill me right off the bat. And there are some trades you can set up to like kind of get both powers to their win cons, but it's a difficult thing to do. And I still need to like meet my own win cons. So it's not as ideal of a setup. So I'm kind of just trying to like wheel and deal with every power I can see. Um, Portugal's probably one of the bigger ones I try to get a long-term relationship with. Um, so we kind of set up a deal where I do whatever they want in South Africa, and because Rosby is a pretty big problem for them, which is that peak power,
Yeah.
and then they do whatever I want over in Asia. And I get to
Probably
control that
this, right?
Timor fleet, basically.
Yeah. Which will work only as long
And
as Portugal doesn't want to win.
exactly. So hopefully Portugal doesn't have eyes and doesn't read what their win cons are, and we should be fine.
Well, as we all know, Portuguese people, they can't read, so I'm sure that they'll never quite figure it out.
Nah, it'll be fine. There's
Yeah.
no worry at all there.
Nothing to worry about.
Another thing I'm trying to do is set up a fight between France and Britain, as you do.
Yep.
As any good Dutch player does.
Any
I
good,
think.
literally ever. Any Dutch player ever in any diplomacy variant is always like, hey, England, France, you two want to fight?
Pretty much, yeah. I have not been very successful in that, though. I'm getting lukewarm responses from both of them, but I'm kind of hopeful that, like, maybe after they build a little bit, then they'll start fighting each other, and then I can kind of do whatever I want with that region. What else? We can go. Spain is actually another big one.
Yes.
We're kind of friendly off the bat. There's nothing like too much going on there, but we do try to establish a alliance. And I think we can go to moves here, and I can talk about some of the other stuff as they come up.
All right. In we go. Spring move, 1700. Where do you want to start?
I'm gonna start with Europe.
Okay.
All right. So me and Denmark organized that bounce in North M. We kind of figured we didn't want either getting control over that space to begin with. It is kind of good for Britain that it's better for Britain than it is for us, but it still kind of works out, I think. Amsterdam doesn't really have a better move to make. Notably, these moves with France are not coordinated, though, so that bounce with the Rhine is not something I was expecting to happen. And I did talk with France out of this phase, and they thought that I would stab them. At least that was the justification that they gave me. But yeah, these aren't really the moves I want to see.
They made
But
these
the
moves
bounce
because
was
you thought, or because they thought you would stab them, and not because the victory condition requires them to kill you. Come on.
totally not. I was definitely the aggressor in that situation. But yeah, every unit in Europe does not go anywhere. It's all a bounce. So that's a great turn one there.
All right.
Already off to a great start. I can feel it.
That's exactly what you wanted to see, I'm sure.
Of course. Colonies do go better though, so I do hold Paramurbo. Actually, no, that's not hold. That's a transform. I think I could be wrong here.
Looks like it
Hold on, let me
transformed.
check this. Yeah. What? Okay. Because I would yell at myself if that was actually a hold. Okay. Usually there's like a gear thing that they do for transforms that you'll see later, but I think it's just a hold for now. But that is a transform, so that is going to be a army in fall. And that French move is also not planned, so I'm not happy about that one.
Yeah, I don't know why they what's the purpose of this move though? You know?
I'm not sure.
I guess they hate Danish people.
Yeah, or they could try to bounce me, but I'm not sure what that does either. It's something.
Yes, very creative. I
That is coordinated with Denmark. I think the deal here was that we bounce into Homey, and then we take Ivory Coast and Benin and fall.
or do you mean to
And then in year
Benin?
2,
Like this, yeah.
yeah, and then in year 2 we decide who gets the dot between us. So I would go to Ivory Coast next year.
Well, I have
Or
bad
no, I would
news.
go to Ivory Coast and fall here.
I have bad news about a
Yeah.
power that has 2 units on Ivory Coast.
Yeah, we are trying to get an anti-Mali coalition together, but it's just such a strong power with only like it's Morocco and a bunch of like one-dot colonials next to them, so
Yeah, like Portugal.
it's a real mess. And then Portugal doesn't even try to engage in this area at all, so that's fun.
Yeah, that Portuguese alliance you talked about going real well right here.
Totally, I maybe they haven't read what their win cons are, and we can work together.
Yeah.
That's got to be it.
That's it. All right, and then, ooh, what a creative use of your unit right here, Salt.
I wonder who could have seen that one coming.
Now, I will say this is just me. Is there any reason you didn't go like there, or do you just like not care about this?
So I did consider that move, but I wanted to just take the backline dots first. I think I do something that's up to Maputo in fall. So
Okay.
I kind of do it that way around, and I leave. Yeah, because I remember if I did that way, I could like support up into Gaborone in year 2 to like still guarantee that dot, and just kind of let Roswy and Portugal fight each other for now while I collect all the dots.
Now, I wonder why these two are fighting. Could it be because one of them has a win condition explicitly to kill the other?
Rosby does, yeah. I think I don't know if Portugal has a win con for it or not, but
I wonder.
Rosby definitely does.
I wonder why one power being explicitly ordered to kill the other would lead to tensions.
Yeah, okay, so Rosby has a condition called the colonial threat. Own 3 home centers of European powers, and there are 3 conveniently located Portuguese dots right next to them.
Wow.
I wonder what those are for.
I don't know. I love Portugal just being like, oh, la di da di da. Surely that guy's not that guy over there is not going to kill me. It's not like his win condition.
Yeah,
This is once again another point of Portugal not knowing how to read. Because if I am Portugal in this position, this is the move 100% of the time. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like
I
maybe
could not tell
I
you
do this
why
instead.
Portugal did not bounce that. I
Like
would bounce that every single time,
like
no matter what.
I think you maybe want to bounce this instead of this, but it's very marginal, right? Like I don't.
You definitely bounce one of them.
And you also go to Somalia and you say, "Hey, buddy, can you come down here, please? Please?"
Yeah, Oman has their own issues, I think, with Funge up north.
Uh,
Yeah. Well,
you
maybe
know.
that's a later thing.
Well, Funge's win
Um,
conditions are like take Mecca in Cairo or whatever, and like Basra.
yeah. Yeah, the regional conditions are pretty much just like kill the people ar around you. They're not that deep.
Mm-hmm.
The colonial ones are the ones that get weird.
Yep. So India.
Yep. I managed to negotiate for Maldives with Denmark. That is a transform from Denmark, by the way. So an army there is something I'm pretty happy to see because I can't contest me at all.
Yeah, an army there is free food.
And yep, that's what I'm thinking.
So
And Indonesia is going pretty well too. Oh, you want to look at the Mughals moves? They're pretty
yeah,
funny.
this does confuse me a little bit. Specifically the part where they move to this province, which is only hostile to England, instead of this one, which disguises their intentions a little bit.
Well, if you want to do that, you go to Bihar and you go to Orissa, and you just
Yeah,
take it out immediately. I guess you do have to worry a little bit about France in that bet, but
but
I don't see that being a bad idea.
it looks like you might
I
already
don't know.
have to worry about France if you're, you know, you know.
Yeah, there's absolutely a coalition after him that is doing the coalition moves. But I don't know how you defend this if you're Mughals, to be honest.
Your best bet. I gotta think. I don't know. It's really. I mean, yeah. This is probably the only. This and this are like the Mughals. The Western governors of Mughals had this figured out, and everyone else was kind of not really getting it right.
Yeah,
I guess
you
that.
definitely had to bounce
So
France down south, I think.
yeah, I mean the Delhi move is okay like in isolation, but I think what you have to do is do like this and this, right, and then bounce France here, and then basically you go to England and say, hey, you can have Dhaka. I don't care. I mean you're gonna die there, but like I want Rajkot, and then you put 2 here. You take your pot shot at Bombay to disband it. I don't know.
Yeah, you kind of force England to go south.
Or you do you do this to Bihar, right? And you say to England, I want you to bounce Portugal here. I will put a fleet out to support you, and I will take Rajkot, which I think is actually pretty workable in the circumstance, right? Because that's the only way England ever survives in Bengal.
Yeah, it's the only way England actually grows in this area because their position is just so rough here.
Yeah, I mean, like this is not enough space between these two because there's just
Yeah,
the
and Tungu just has no other options. There's that wall between them and
yeah.
Siam, so they can't really push in that direction.
They literally are prevented by God from attacking Siam, so it's not happening.
Yeah, and then China is just huge, so it's just
yeah. I mean, I guess you can technically fight China. You could open this way. I guess I'll change the colors a little bit.
You want to take a wild guess what Tungu's win cons are?
Let's see. Take Bengal and I don't know, like Bangkok and like Hong Kong or something.
I'm pretty like one of them's like kill China, I think. One of them's kill Siam, and one of them's like to push into
Let me read them.
Mughals, I think.
Indo-Chinese
Something
domination,
along.
which is just this. That's Indo-Chinese domination. The Mughal threat own 4 Mughal home centers. And own Dhaka, Kandy, and Trank. So
Kandy is my center.
Kandy and Trank. So they don't have to kill China. There you go.
Actually, yeah, you're right. I think China has to kill them though. That's how that works, I think.
Well, it looks to me as if Tongu is railroaded into their best option, which is just murdering the British, which is terrible for the British because the British need to have that colony be successful.
No, Britain is just not going to be winning any game ever with what their win cons are. There's just no way.
They need to have a Mughals who is competent enough to help them, like I described, but not so competent that they just kill them, right? Like, your
Yeah,
Mughals has to be really open to suggestions, but only from you.
and then
Because,
Tungu has to like not take the free dot too.
yeah, Tungu has to open, like, against their victory conditions for some reason and attack China, despite having no reason to do that.
Yeah, I don't know how Britain would ever win any of these games. It's just so impossible, I think.
Yes,
It's brutal.
but on the bright side, Dutch Indonesia, very successful. This is the best colony. The best colony that I've seen in a while.
By far.
The
I
bar
think
is...
I actually do go +4 in this region.
I don't
At
see why
least
you wouldn't, right?
I'm
Because you
set up
just...
for it.
I mean, depending on what Siam wants, right? Like, they might want to do this or something like that, right? But even then, you just go
Yeah.
here, and you go here, and you go... let's see, there, and, like, there, if you have any issues.
Yeah, that is what we agreed on, I think, to do. Britain and Siam both want that one dot in, yeah, Asa.
Yes.
So I'm trying to get them to bounce there instead of like Britain like contesting the other dot they can go for.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of discussions around there. There's some discussions with Polynesia as well. So I actually did kind of soft stab Britain here by not bouncing Australian coast like I said I would. So now Polynesia, I think, yeah, I said I either I said I'd bounce that or like there are some discussions where we kind of make sure that Bioli and the other neutral like beat us and we like deny Polynesia both of them
Yes, like,
and we
maybe you
like
were
work
supposed to
together
go,
to
like,
kill them.
here or something.
Yeah, I definitely did. I definitely said I would do something vaguely anti Polynesia and then did not do that.
And then you're just like, no,
So
actually, I don't care. Good luck.
yeah, pretty much. I did tell Spain the same things though, and Spain did really like come through for me here. So
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. Um, I figure I am just slightly worried that Polynesia like tries to backfill my dot here, but I'm hopeful that I can kind of like tell them what Britain's moves are. So like they'll go for the dot in the south, and that with the Spain stab, surely they don't
Yeah,
like.
fleet here is...
Surely they need me around to like help them with the Spain here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what my hopes are.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's spring.
Look at that. Martin van Viviers with a one guy on a boat in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
I
Going for
hate
the
that
dot.
province name so much. It's way too long.
You ever taken
I can
London?
never.
You ever taken London in EU4 and instead of being, it's normally London, right? But
Yeah,
instead of that, it's London.
I hate that. That is the worst change ever.
And you
Having
chose
to
to play this
type
country.
that out every single turn is just brutal.
Yeah, I don't envy you there.
It's a really like good space to control too, because it kind of like connects Africa to Asia, so you can't ever lose it, and you have to build there. And it's just, it sucks. I need that name change for the next running of this.
And hey, look who moved right next to it.
Yep, that's super fun to deal with.
I mean, France having a fleet down, but they still went this way. That's what I don't get. Like
Yeah,
surely
they
you
didn't
just...
like go for the kill shot, but they are
I
moving to like threaten me.
I don't understand.
It's nice for me though. I do like them not going for the like kill shot. They can still back off from me if they wanted to.
I mean, maybe they're gonna go this way, I guess, but
That is what I'm pitching to them. I'm
yeah.
I'm pitching like anti-England pretty hard to France. I'm gonna take a Goreng with that fleet, and we can kind of position for like
Yeah, if he gets here, you're
Mania.
here, you're like, you have this up here. There's Polynesia, who's going to be somewhere here and here.
Yeah, there's a pretty decent line here. So I'm kind of trying to pitch that to France, and hopefully that's enough.
There's a decent line, but France is hard-coded to need this.
Yeah.
I love the description. France is hard coded. They need to take that.
that is the beauty of like only having to go for 2 out of the 3s. There is like some wiggle room there, but it's definitely a uphill climb, you know?
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
You know, Dutch are always difficult, no matter which game it is.
Also, France opening to Bay of Biscay, but not.
Oh yeah. I think France stabbed Spain here.
But that's a really, really, really bad stab.
But the Spanish player is really, really bad.
But like.
Oh yeah, Spain also like immediately stabs Portugal.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one. That one's always fun.
I don't understand any of this.
No, me and Spain are like
What?
best friends here. I love seeing this.
I know you love seeing it, but like they both did this so like there's no line here where Spain can actually stab Portugal. It just doesn't exist, right? Like
I mean, they're threatening Portugal.
well,
That's good enough for me.
If you want to stab Portugal, you have to convince Portugal to do this. You have to convince them that's a good idea.
Yeah, I also don't know why they wouldn't bounce Iberian playing because now Portugal has 2 on their dot.
Yeah.
So I don't get this at all.
But France, if you want to stab Spain, like stab Spain. You know, like am I?
I think I don't know. You only move to like Aquitania if you want to stab Spain, but like you don't want Spain to know about it. But then Bay of Biscay is like the most anti-Spanish move you can make.
Or how about different proposal? You just stab Spain. You don't stab the Dutch. You just stab Spain. Okay. Boom.
Yeah. No, it's would be better.
You do this. Oh, hi Spain. Thank you for Barcelona and A Coruña.
Maybe like it's because they have like some border tension over in North America that Spain or France isn't. This is always bad no matter what. I don't know why I'm trying to explain it, but
I mean, yeah, they have border tension. England's gonna go take France's dots because England has to do that to be able to win. But like,
yeah, France also has like new.
But if
Orleans here.
But if England
like, just rough.
But if England is your problem, then why are you doing this?
And they don't bounce channel.
Well, yeah, I don't. There's none of this makes any sense to me. I don't. And like,
it's just chaos.
Hello.
This is Mamba, by the way. That adds any context.
That. Okay then. Yeah, but normally he does good early on, so I don't understand what these moves are designed for. You know.
I think it's like he couldn't pick which one of his which person to like go after immediately. Just kind of picked a mix of them.
All. Yeah.
Everyone except England, and England attacks him. So it's not working out great.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Anything else confusing on the board? Anyone else need a spotlight? I don't know. It looks like Russia's...
Somebody didn't submit news. Or no, that's fault. Never mind.
I don't know. I know China's
I don't know if there's
hard-coded.
anything weird turn 1.
I know China's also hard-coded to have to kill Japan. So...
And Japan is hard-coded to have to kill China as well.
Yeah. I'm sure... It looks like one of them has at least read their win conditions.
Yeah, Japan, like, they both have, like, 2 other win conditions, but they don't have to kill each other. But the easier one for both of them is to just kill the other. So, yeah. And yeah, Russia and China, there's also, like, some win conditions going on there. Like, 90% of the fights that you see on this map can be explained by win cons.
Yeah, which feels obviously I'm being critical, and I haven't played, but that feels like a big flaw to a variant, is when instead of letting people like kind of feel out what they think the best moves are, you just tell them like you must kill this person now. It just feels
also gives a lot. It really kills a lot of the flexibility that nations have.
Yes.
I know the variant creator was talking about having the win cons be like a supplemental thing instead of like you need this to win. So like for example having win cons like give you an extra 3 centers towards your uh, supply center count, have like kind of count as that instead of you needing them to win. And I think that's a good change. But still, I think removing them completely would be better.
Yes. Oh, you have to remove either you have to remove them or you have to make them private. Only this nation knows about it.
Yeah. And make the colonial ones more possible because poor England can just never win a game of
Yeah,
this.
this is not. Yeah, and then and then Russia's like Russia's Siberian dots just have nothing to do but bounce.
Yeah.
Except this was like an attempted stab on chain. I don't understand. I don't understand like why even if this
Probably
stab
a wing
even if
I'm
that
look at
stab
Russia's.
but even if this particular stab works, you still don't get Kowloon because they'll always have 2 on it. So you should go this direction instead.
Yeah, so China has a one con that's either kill Russia or kill Mughal. They get to like choose on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have their own home
Well,
centers,
I know which one I would choose.
and then well, it's hard to get to Mughals if you're China, right? Because of uh the mountains.
I guess, yeah,
I would
it's
conquer Russia,
yeah.
and then Russia also has a win con as to kill China.
Yes, listen, flexibility is bad, okay? We know yoga. This is called it. There's no yoga, okay? We're going to nail you to this cross and you will maintain this position. England died for our sins.
For England, I feel so bad for them in this game. You have like you take like the best player of like all time. I don't think that they could win with
You
the Britain
you
on
could you
this.
could put like Captain Mimenezio duoing this country and everyone else is like, "Hey, this is your first time playing diplomacy. Here you go." And like it would still be a struggle.
Yeah, Britain is just. I like the position, but the win cons are just so bad.
Yes. Well, on that note, actually, let's make sure nothing else stupid is happening. This is a transform, probably.
Yeah.
I,
I think Portugal should have bounced Torino
yeah,
here. This just feels bad to me.
What? Hello? This man has explicit instructions to stab you in the face, and you know about it. Why are you letting them have that center?
Yep.
And I feel like you should bounce them twice. You should bounce them once and then bounce them again because you can get built.
Yeah, you have
elsewhere
to
and they
fleet.
can't.
Just take that. Just take that dot. Like
Yeah.
Recife.
go
What
up.
is that doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just infinitely better.
And then like what's the idea? What do you?
I think it's asking Mapuche to kill us immediately.
Yeah. Hi,
That's what's
Mapuche.
happening here.
I would like to receive a knife in the mail directed at my face. Thank you.
I think Mapuche will be more than happy to deliver said knife.
Mapuche will stand and deliver.
Oh god, these there are gonna be there are gonna be some more questionable moves just every phase. Just get ready for that one.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of gotten that hint by now. Hey, but
Do you want to go to fall?
good guy France tried to bounce and got supported by Spain.
Oh yeah, as it gets stabbed by a
Yeah,
France.
except Spain's here now, and yeah, we're not gonna. Yeah, this was a really good idea. Fall. Interesting.
Yeah. So a big thing here is that I tried to negotiate with France to kind of get them off of me and onto Britain, and that was mostly a success here. I think that English Channel move was a pretty big deal. I remember I was kind of talking about like both of them to like get this down the other as a Dutch player does,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew England was convoying. I don't think I knew which space they were convoying to. So they missed the 50-50 on whether France would cover Brest or not.
Or Normandy or
So it's
Picardy.
pretty. Yeah, so this is a pretty rough spot for Britain, but I do like to see some fighting going on here. And I don't know. I get Hamburg, which is I get my 1 dot.
One.
Austria is a pretty big threat here, and they're not. I did not start on the best foot with them. I had to hear from like a third party from Denmark that Austria was kind of not receptive to my plans.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to pitch like anti-France to them. Austria has a win con to take Paris. France has a win con to take Vienna. So I figured why not try to get that happening in either direction? And
Unfortunately,
Austria apparently,
one of Austria's other win cons is own all supply centers in the Holy Roman Empire. So all those ones that we talked about earlier that Salt really needs, like all of these ones, Austria also has explicit instructions to take.
yep. And these are like Denmark's like natural dots too, and I think Poland also has like a say on them.
Yeah.
I am never getting these dots ever.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah. But Austria, like, I had to learn that Austria, like, was not happy with my initial press to them. So I now have a potentially hostile Austria right next to me, and also potentially hostile France, and a Denmark who wants to kill me, and an England who probably wants to kill me too. So, not the best setup in Europe so far.
Well, it's better than it could have been. I don't know how it could have been worse, but I mean, surely there's a way.
Yeah, I think that bounce in a North M actually wasn't planned. I remember Denmark being pretty upset with this. I think I said I was going like North E, and then like last second I changed that. I don't know if that's like a genuine like I forgot or not. It's been too long for me to remember, but they were not happy to see that bounce.
Yeah, no, I'd imagine not. Let's go to South America, where, hey, look at that.
France does not stab me.
Magic.
We do love to see that. I think it's probably because Britain immediately moved to stab France, and that's what saved me here.
Yeah, that probably helped.
But Britain is also attacking me, if you look at West Africa.
Oh.
Yeah. We don't love to see that, but Mali did not go for Ivory Coast. At least we have that.
Yeah, that's his consolation prize. We'll take it. We'll take it. You
I
actually
can
sat...
still a second plate. Oh, I did. Okay. Yeah, I remember now. Okay. So with this setup, I can go to
because you got to do this.
Yeah. I can just like support there and fall here too. That was what I was doing. I remember now.
Where the other way, if you did that, you'd have to end one of the armies in Natal, which is not where you want to be.
Right. Yeah. That sounds like good diplomacy moves that I would make.
Yes.
I
Mitosis.
remember we were like, I convinced the GMs to like just make a bunch of new fleets for me here. Pretty funny.
Just gonna grab that real quick.
Yeah. The Dutch Armada sets sail.
All right, then East Indies. Oh, that's not.
That's not fun. No. We will have to talk to Ayutthaya, but Ayutthaya is being played by Ego, so.
Oh, so you're fine. Yeah, so you're fine. There's no problems there, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
You have no idea just how right you are.
I have no respect for Ego. I played as is known. I think I played Tokugawa in the first game of Imp Dip, and Ego was on Ayutthaya, and the worst thing she ever did to me in that game was sub out and let Amethyst take her spot, because Amethyst was too good. Amethyst was like, oh, Tokugawa is moving these fleets towards me. That means he wants to stab me, so I shouldn't allow that. Where Ego would have been like, oh my god, Tokugawa, you're moving the fleets towards me. That's so friendly. That's so friendly. We love to see it. Thank you for your fleets.
Ego is not wearing glasses, as we all know.
Yeah, Ego. Well, no, Ego is. Well, Ego is wearing the glasses, right? Ego sees. Let me get that set up. Ego sees the dot, right? But like,
Mm-hmm.
but Ego
Do you think
also.
Ego would like take the dot though?
Well, the problem is that Ego is like a squirrel, right, or a chipmunk, where it's like, oh, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, you know, just
Yeah.
forget.
Like if this was any other, this is like normally a pretty scary step to have as a Dutch, but with Ego, I think I can kind of
Yeah,
manage it. You know.
you're like, oh, Ego's moving towards my supply centers. Oh, that's so cute.
I
Oh
am
no.
actively playing with Spain to immediately kill Ego. I think Tungu is kind of in on that as well. And Ego just doesn't do press. That's pretty much like a done deal.
Yeah. Yeah, that is
Um,
a rather interesting flaw to have as a diplomacy player.
we will get a little sad though if you want to move to Polynesia, then we can make fun of Beagle's moves.
Once
I
we
don't know
finish.
why Polynesia did this. I did leak the correct moves that Britain was doing here, so they could have taken a free dot there. And yeah, I kind of yelled at
All of that
Polynesia
just
for
for
doing
Polynesia
this.
to not get anything out of it because they can't build there. So what's the point?
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
what? And was this fleet that went this way, by the way. I don't know in what world is Polynesia. Vanuatu
I
is not going to Hebrides Trench because like what, do you want to go take Namu?
These are
Like come on.
terrible moves for Polynesia all around. I am pretty much the one person that can help them out with the Spain gear, and they dot me. So I did not have kind words for them at the end of this.
Your response is going to be okay. Have fun with Typhoon Hispania.
Pretty much.
Or I guess down here it's
I don't
Cyclone
know.
Hispania. I'm a nerd. It's
It
Cyclone
just feels
Hispania.
terrible to me because they can't even hold the dot that they took, right?
Yeah, you just what happens next year is you say, hey Portugal, keep ignoring those wind conditions. Please bring the fleet down the coast, and I'll put mine right there. And you know,
Yeah.
and
And what are they gonna
reinforce
do?
it.
They can't build.
They can't reinforce it. Yeah,
Well,
the
they do have
nearest.
+1 builds.
Well, they can build. They just can't build
Can't build
nearby.
next to it.
Yeah,
And they have to defend Spain because Spain's gonna pop down one more fleet there. Like, come on.
they probably have to do this anyways.
They probably do, yeah. Like, it has to go like immediately back. It can't fight me. It just annoys me.
Yeah, and it's not like you were going to be a threat to them in the short term, anyways, because if this fleet here is going to team up with the fleet built here, you have to go to Solomon Sea and kill Spain first. So you're on the same side.
Yeah.
Anyways,
We should be working together.
what?
We get these Smeagol moves. Let's look at those.
I don't quite get it.
So Beagles are supporting themselves into Bombay. Britain's trying to bounce, and then they're having the Portuguese dot. I don't know why France isn't trying to walk into Beagle home centers here.
Probably, I mean, I'd assume they want to convince Denmark not to build here, and then be like, oh. Like, that's what my thought would be. Or like maybe
These
they
powers are all like putting on airs of working together, but
or
I
like
don't know how serious it is.
maybe they want you to build a fleet here and do this and help them with it, right? Like that's what I would be looking at.
They haven't asked me about that, but I like if they did want me to do that, they'd like want me to go to like Bay of Bengal, like support them up to Hadak, I think. That's probably the way to do it.
Yeah. Also, for the record, if I was England, I would be so upset with Mughals not doing this, because if they did this, at least I could disband this army on the retreat.
Yeah. This colony is so useless for England.
Also, Mughals should have gone for Rajkot. That's a pre-core, right?
Yeah. I guess they do already have the coastal core, but still.
But you want England to be down
take
here,
pre-cores.
because then you can, like, I don't know, you can be like, if you don't help me down here, then you're dead right there, right? Because right now the situation is England's colony in Bengal will survive a year if a Mughal army here is supporting an English army here. Because Tungu will have to build a fleet and to get it around, but because they covered Pegu, they literally can't, right? So it's actually 2 years is what this flank would hold on for, right there, if these two work together.
Yeah, and England is not in a position position to say no to that.
You know, because the other part of the Mughal offer would be, hey, you know, I'll support you down the coastline. And what you don't mention to England is that you'll be walking in behind them as you do it, but you know, that's the unsaid part of the agreement, right?
Yeah, I don't know. England has no good moves here. You can't work with the Mughals because you need them to be weak in the long run. You can't work with the colonials either because their colonies are better than yours, and then Mughals kills you before they can like actually help you out.
Yeah.
There's just no winning here
England just has no
as
play here,
England.
really, especially not without some creative, some creative moves.
Yeah, you just need Mughals to just like not do moves like the first year, and then maybe you have a position going.
Well, no, because if Mughals don't do moves for the first year, then you die over here. You die.
So Tungu also needs to not do
Yeah, Tungu needs
moves.
to go AFK. Except even if Tungu does go AFK, you still die to them in year 2.
They still kill you.
Yes, you
They have
still
like
lose.
God, England needs a this England colony really needs some kind of help for next patch.
Yeah. I mean, if there just wasn't this win condition, it would be fine because you could become a junior part to the Mughals, and it would all be good. But there isn't, so
Yeah.
let's see
Um,
what else goes on. We've covered your
Ottomans
colonies
dot
mostly.
Oman immediately.
I'm not surprised.
Uh-huh. Would you want did you want to wonder what one of those win cons might be?
Take Muscat.
It's something like along this line. I think Oman has a win con to take like Cairo and Mecca, I think. And Ottomans have one to like take out this Oman
Oh,
area
Ottomans
as
actually.
well.
I'm looking at Ottomans. Don't actually have any to take anything from Oman.
Oh,
Uh,
I respect this a
they
lot more then.
they need to take. Oh well, they have to have Sana and Al Hassa. So
That can actually be like bargained for though. You don't have to stab for those. I mean, you do because Oman's taking Sanaa,
you
but
definitely do have to stab for those.
I
I
feel like there's
guess
there's a world in which you can like convoy Oman to like
there
Funge
maybe.
and like
So like maybe you have your fleet
do it that
here.
way. Like it's probably like a next year thing, and you like trade for
I,
it, but you
I
can probably make it work.
I think it's possible, but I would just resort to murder.
Yeah, I mean, that's the easiest option. It's
Although
technically possible.
as Oman here, I might have like bounced this and done this and supported this to hold because Funj was obviously pointing a gun at your face, so you should, you know.
Every single time. They can retreat to a dot though, so it's not the end of the world, but come on.
Well, yeah, but this is just terrible positioning
Yeah.
because you need to have the army here to go up and then have these two like this to put pressure that way with the fleet here to pressure Adal, right?
Yeah, it's
Nuances.
not
There are some
great.
nuances of the diplomacy positions, but that's basically what you're looking at, or at least what you should be looking at. But we're not looking at that.
Yep. What else is interesting?
You said someone NMR'd.
Yeah, in North
Oh,
America. So I don't know. I forgot what this power is called, but they are just dead now. They
what
can
is
no
it?
longer win.
Cascadia?
Yeah.
Nuxal
Yes,
Federation.
they're just dead now.
Only one build is not ideal. Or I guess no, they could
Yeah,
have. Oh, they could have had 3. So yeah.
and their neighbors all doubled.
And I mean, I haven't checked, but they probably have win conditions to kill them hard coded. So there's no hope.
Yeah, they do. The natives all have blade guns to kill each other. They don't have to, like, they could go for the other two, but the easiest win condition for all of them is to just kill the others.
Yep. All right. Well, let's see. With that out of the way.
Also, Spain and France, kind of interesting.
That's certainly one approach you can take to this problem.
France is just dead there. There is no way.
I mean, New Orleans is never
It's
surviving
insane.
unless you work with Spain. But if you're going to stab Spain,
It's
you should
insane that
stab them for
Cherokee
more
doubled.
than one dot.
I can't believe France didn't manage to get like Portuguese support or like work with Portugal at all on this dot
Well,
here.
they didn't have the army in Navarra, so they never were. They didn't have anything, right? If they had had army in Navarra and Aquitania, then you could like try to do this, and there's a
They
lot
should
of
at least
options.
have like the Porto army support the fleet end. And Portugal would do that because why wouldn't Portugal do that? At least kind of try for it. But I don't know. This just feels
Well, I guess you're never
like
gonna.
the
Well, you're
Bay
never
Biscay
gonna.
move.
Well, you're never gonna get it. This is just like stupid. You should have just gone here in the first place if you were
Yeah,
gonna.
like this move reads like you're backing off of Spain, but then you're also dotting Spain.
But this is you can't
I don't
keep
know.
this. You just can't keep this. So
No.
at least you can only keep it if
And
Spain
then
allows you to keep it.
yeah, like Austria's kind of stabbing Spain too, so I guess you kind of have that. Spain definitely doesn't have like a very strong position
Well, you
here.
say Austria is stabbing Spain, but this is just what I would expect from Austria every single time, right?
True. Yeah, that's fair. They probably take Naples though, and I don't think Spain can do much about it.
Meanwhile, Ottomans covering
Sure.
Tunis instead of going to Algiers.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't love that move either.
All right.
Let's get some
Let's.
good moves. Do you have any good moves on this map?
Uh, not up there. That's for certain.
Japan and China, not immediately stabbing each other is pretty, um, not what I would expect.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was designed to do, personally, because you can
It works out,
walk
but
there.
yeah,
No,
it's
not really, right? It doesn't really
yeah,
benefit
no, like
China at all because if you had the fleet in
could have
Okinawa
just
instead,
gotten
you
into
can
pot.
you can still build a fleet in Canton, build a fleet in Shanghai, and then force Taiwan anyways because you can support it from Macau. Like so, if I want to illustrate this, fleet there, fleet there, fleet there, fleet there. Then the one fleet that will be right here from Portugal is unable to contest at all.
Yeah, it's just strictly worse. You're right.
So
Well,
no good moves.
no. Winter then.
Winter builds.
So I am +9 here.
Okay, you build. Is that a build? Fleet? Yeah.
I think that
Yes.
is build. Yeah.
You build one
I don't
fleet in
think.
Europe, nothing else.
Yeah, and I think I build it in most of the colonies here.
There's no signifier for what new builds are, so we're gonna have to kind of just vibe check it.
I think there are on the
Later on there are.
later maps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for now, we're just
I
going on
build.
vibes.
Yeah, I built in Zuo. I built in almost every colony, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe it was every colony. Yeah, it actually was. So every colony I had, I did build in.
Yep. Cape, good. Yep. Ceylon, good. Then just tons of fleets in Indonesia, because you don't need anything else other than fleets.
Yeah.
And
And then
fleets.
Marquesan, I also built a fleet in.
Where? Oh yeah, because
In the
France.
middle.
Yeah, because France. We didn't touch on that, but France actually did that.
Yep. France and England war is very much on. I am happy to see it.
Gotta love how Firebender got his own coalition going. What a nice guy.
I know, every single game.
Yep.
I don't think there are that many hostile builds here. Like Ayutthaya is like probably the biggest concern for me out in the colonies, but it's ego, so
So like,
I feel pretty comfortable.
yeah, it's like
The coalition against her is going to do its thing.
it's a concern, but it's like Susan Collins says she's concerned, but doesn't really do anything. So there you go.
Yeah, like
It's like I'm deeply concerned about the Ayutthayan threat, and then like you go home to like your champagne and whatever, and you're like, ooh.
yeah, like if this was you playing this position, like there would be like alarm bells going off. I'd be doing like text walls of press trying to rally people to kill you immediately. With ego, it's like more of like a slow thing.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
oh, do you wanna go fight? We should probably do this like eventually.
Yeah.
It's not like the immediate like priority.
Yeah, and like not like with like a player of a of a higher caliber.
Yeah, like if we had you or like Captain Meme on this, I would just kind of write off
You'd write off
these
probably like
these
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 two dots
dots.
probably.
Yeah, I would just kind of hand them over
And I keep wanting to say
like
no
that.
offense, but I am not gonna lie. Like it is a little offensive to be talking this much trash about someone else's diplomacy skills, and the fact that I'm doing it anyways is kind of a hint.
Yeah, look, there are several turns in a row later on where Ego just does not do moves at all, so I feel like we can be a little justified in this, but it
Yes,
is like a little, like, I don't know. I would not do this to 99.99% of players.
and yet here we are.
I don't know if there's any that many relevant builds here to discuss. Like,
Army,
I don't know,
army,
Molly
army,
pops
army.
down.
Look at this, all these
Yeah,
armies.
I would build the. Oh yeah, no, Tinka couldn't build
Couldn't
fleets. They
build
had
fleet.
to
I
build
would
the
have.
two armies.
I was gonna say I would have deferred a build, but you can just transform, so it's fine.
Yeah, and then Molly builds fleets or one fleet, the one fleet that they can get.
I guess as
Um,
Tongu, maybe. I mean, I assume like this is probably the idea, just because it's an easy target.
so this is Bears on a Tinka here, and Bears.
Okay.
I think Bears has been like complaining about how bad this position is to me every single turn. Oh,
No, it's a
I try like wrote
hmm.
it's something. I'm trying like rope them in to stab uh Ayutthaya. I think I'm like trying to make some progress on that front, but the impassable tile really makes it hard.
The position is okay. It's not great, but now that you have 5 dots, what you do is you make this like you make one of these two into a fleet. Maybe both. Maybe you do both. Depends on
I
how
would
much
do
you trust
both.
Ching, right? But if Ching is okay, then you do both basically. What you do is you have a fleet there, you have a fleet there, you move an army here, and you move this army here, and then you want to convoy into like there or something, or into here, while this
Yeah,
pressures with support from that fleet.
that would be the play.
That's
You do
basically what
just
I'd be
need
looking at.
fleets in this spot.
I don't think that you really have any options, especially because your win conditions are kill Mughals and kill Siam. Like you don't have options. You just have to do it.
Yeah, and
If
just
you
hope
had
that they don't.
options, if you had options, then last year maybe you attack Chang like I outlined, and you have like a decent shot of getting all of these centers. But there's a
I
really
think even with like the wing editions, like being like the just getting like your 20 dots as Jingo, you do need a China stab in there eventually. But the timing of that is kind of up to you.
I was trying to think. There's what is it? The things you hit and the candy comes out of it.
Pinatas?
Pinata, yes. I was thinking you if you didn't have that win condition, you'd immediately want to go start hitting China like a pinata, with a baseball bat, trying to get the dots to all rain down on you, right?
Yeah, China and Bikara here are like immediately
Death war.
in a like locked into a fight. Yeah, they're never getting
I bet Bukhara has a win
out
condition
of
to
that.
kill China. That's what I bet. That's what I bet's going on here. Because if I'm Bukhara and I don't have a
How
win
did you guess
condition,
that one?
if I'm Bukhara and my win condition doesn't say kill China, I am killing everybody but China.
I don't
Let's
know
see.
how you ever managed to guess that Bikara might want to kill China here.
Okay, so actually, this is a lie. Bukhara has no win conditions pertaining to China. Their win conditions are kill Russia, kill Safavids, and kill Mughals. So
Wait, no way.
I don't understand why their first move is to go attack China, and I'm not, and that's it.
Okay, there was some discussion after the game about this. I think between them. I think like as one of these neutrals that like I think they both wanted, and then Bikara stabbed for it. Or at least that's what China thinks happened. And then
Hmm.
Bikara feels like China like lied to them about it or something like that. But Russia kills them both, so it doesn't really matter. It's like
I, yeah,
look at how
I
many Russian
what
armies have.
I cannot believe that Russia starts with all of the armies up here already, and your first response isn't, oh, hey, Ching, Russia has a lot of armies. Do you want to do something about that?
Yeah, this Russian position is so good.
Because, like, Russia has a lot of armies. We should do something about that. No, listen.
Nowhere else to go.
Listen. China, you gotta give me Qinghai. Okay?
Do you want to take a guess on what Russia's win cons are, by chance?
Like, kill China, kill Bukhara, kill, I don't know, Poland. Let's see.
China, Bukhara, and, like, around the Baltic. I think those are the win cons for Russia.
Yeah, so it's warm water port, so it's, like, you have to have, like, this, or, what is it? Or these two.
The Baltic ports.
Or.
It might be.
Or, like, these two. So that's one. You have to go either kill Ottomans or kill Denmark plus Poland. And then the other one is to own. What? These? Like
Mashhad, Tehran, Kabul.
So it's kill half of it. So like Iran. I would say kill Iran and Mughals, but by the time you get there, Mughals are already going to be dead. So you don't have to worry about Mughals. And then the other one is own 5 Chinese home centers, including Beijing and Yongmingcheng. So yeah.
Yeah.
So basically just walk down to like this line.
Pretty much.
Or isn't this a Qing home center? Is that
It might be.
That looks like a Qing home center. I'll check too. Yeah, that's a Qing home center.
Yep.
So literally all you have to do. Okay, well, that's not hard as Russia. You just take everything north of this line. That's really easy.
Yeah, and you just win.
Well, I mean, I guess to get Kabul, you have to kill Bukhara, right? So, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really good for Russia that these two are fighting each other, despite neither of them gaining anything out of it, except, I guess, their death. On that note, moves, right? We can do moves. It's only been an hour. Let's go to year 2. An hour and 16 minutes.
Yeah. So Europe gets a lot more interesting here. Denmark does the no good, very bad move of killing Dutch. So this is probably time to talk about even more win cons here. Denmark has a win con called Restoring the Danelaw, which requires them to get a bunch of these British home centers. And I think also Brest.
Yeah, Brest.
Or like so it's like 5 out of 6. Like they kind of have a little bit of
4 of these is what I'm getting. It's 4 of these centers.
Yeah, and they also have a win con in like the Baltic or like kind of similar to like the same dots that I have to go for. Yeah. So this was that guy, on Denmark, and his reasoning for this was, like we had like a kind of like alliance against England, though that hadn't really materialized yet. But his reason for this though is that I need 6 British corps to win, and those kind of have to come mostly from Europe. And if I'm getting those from Europe, then his Danelaw win is going to be very hard. And that was kind of why he did this. That was his justification for it. Notably, his third win con is he had like 10 centers outside of Europe, so that's one that's actually pretty doable for him. So he doesn't need the British win con, I feel like.
But if he does want it also conflicts with yours, which is to own all of those centers yourself.
Yeah, which is his justification for going after me here. It's not that effective at first, but getting that kind of North Sea control immediately, tough. Like North E bounces, but it is pretty brutal right now. It's like I had to kind of accurately predict which of the 3 dots bordering the North Sea that he goes for, and then Austria is also working with him.
Yeah, Austria doing that is weird. Because Scandy's not even helping against Poland. Or Denmark, I guess.
I don't think Austria read their win conditions properly until later into the game here. Because Austria does need the same dots that they're currently helping Denmark take.
Yeah, Austria needs all of Germany.
Yeah, there's no long-term alliance between Austria and Denmark here, but the way this Austrian player is playing right now is with a long-term alliance with Denmark.
Yeah. And I'm
It
gonna
gets
say
worse
I'm
across
gonna
the
say that
colonies too.
I'm gonna say they need all of Germany. By the way, they need both the winning conditions. I'm reading them. Germany own Poland, or you can own everything in Italy and Anatolia.
Never happening, or at
Yeah,
least not unless you get very lucky.
this will
It's
take like 10 years.
the Ottomans here.
But but
Yeah.
but if the Ottomans collapse, there's like this big purple country here that's doing really good out here and will have a ton of builds.
And Soviets are probably going to get super powerful off of that and push into that region before you do.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Well, yeah.
So
Anyways,
Austria kind of effectively only has two win cons. There are a lot of countries like that. Um,
well, let's
yeah, we can look
go.
at South America. So let's go to South America here.
Let's. Okay, so
Uh,
you get a neutral center, which is good, and then
yeah. Demarina Plain is rough though. I'd like it's a 50-50 between me and Denmark and fall here. And then actually no, it's not because we can just force Guyana.
yeah, this I'm. What was this move for? To help Portugal against them?
I think so. Yeah, there's kind of an alliance against Dranic here. Like you can see Spain going after them. So like me, Spain, and Portugal are all trying to coordinate them, and then Portugal doesn't really follow through with their end of things.
Yeah, I'm
They go
thinking
after
this.
Mapuche instead.
I'm thinking this move was about the worst possible move that I could imagine for this alliance.
Yeah.
Because it makes
I
your
also
move
try
into
to sell
Zipaya.
Torina.
This makes your move into Zipaya completely useless.
Yeah, it does nothing. It's
Literally,
horrible.
all
And
it
France
literally
just
it does less than nothing. It costs you a center.
yeah. I try to convince Torina to also move against Portugal here to kind of like get those two fighting, but neither of them does what I like try to get them to do. So I stab Torina for -1 dot basically. My only
Classic.
consolation is that Spain stabbed them more than I did.
Yeah. Yeah, this just feels really bad. If you had
But
held, you could have also taken that.
yeah, but Torina didn't make like great moves either. So at least there's that kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this support hold is not really necessary in hindsight, but I think what would I? I'm thinking like what I would do here. I mean,
I would go after Spain. Like that hold up north just feels bad to me. I would start pushing Spain if I
I
were
get
Trina,
that.
or if not Spain, at least like one of the colonials. This is too defensive for my liking.
Yeah, well,
It
they're having a
works
good
for
time.
them. It doesn't
It works
cost them
because
anything
Portugal is
immediately.
like, ooh, I could attack Guarani or what is it? No, Mapuche. I could attack
I don't know why they're
Mapuche
going after
and get nothing.
Mapuche here.
Like what? There's still
Yeah,
no play. There is still no play in the position because you only have one fleet.
yeah. There's just nothing
You
going on here.
you never get anything. The
No,
only way you get anything is if this other South American stabs Mapuche, but they're clearly not doing that, and they shouldn't.
Spain is somehow stabbing both Mapuche and Torina and thinking that'll work out well for them here.
Well, dreams and all that.
Yeah,
Let's
you could
see.
Africa though.
Yeah, look at that. Britain decided they
Um,
actually didn't have any interest there, and
I did manage to convince Britain to go when I did manage to convince Portugal to support them in. I am trying. There are a lot of voices in this anti-Mali coalition that you can see forming. I don't
hmm
know whose is the loudest, but I'm definitely one of them. So like it's me, Morocco, Funge, then like the colonials in the area.
hmm
Uh, Denmark actually doesn't stop me here. These moves are coordinated. He's trying to like get a thing where like that kind of deal where like we only fight in Europe and nowhere else.
well, one place
That's what
else.
yeah. He's pitching me on that though, where I stabbed you, but don't retaliate in any of the places where you can actually
Retaliate.
fight me in. Like, come on. It's so obvious what he's like. I hate deals like that. I stabbed you, but don't take any of my dots that you can take, please.
My
That
favorite deals
don't
my favorite deal to make is when I'm a regional fighting a colonial, And so I stab them, and then I say, hey, listen, you just keep all those fleets on the other side of the ocean, okay? And they're like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Famously,
self-respecting colonial agrees to that.
did,
There's no way.
I did that in Rev Diff, if you remember, with Spain. And
Oh yeah.
and when I played Tokugawa in A1A in Imperial Diplomacy, I did that with Spain again, but the other way, right?
Yeah. God.
Yep.
That Spain player in Rev Div was something else.
He wasn't like bad. He was just new.
He wasn't bad. He was just like he let himself get talked into a lot of things that he probably shouldn't have gotten talked into.
Good times. Although to talk somebody into something, you have to actually be able to talk to them. What?
Yeah, so the Ego Coalition is going pretty well here.
The coalition goes a lot better when the person you're coalitioning just doesn't make moves.
It is pretty nice, you know? I was thinking that there might be like an actual challenge to taking these dots from Siam, but Ego just like lets me have it. How kind.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly love to be a neighbor of Ego's, but if I was in this game and I wasn't like Tongu or Qing or Spain or Netherlands, I would be pretty annoyed. You know?
Yeah, that's how a lot of the other powers were feeling, but I'm pretty happy with this, you know? And that's what that's what matters.
Frankly, this is the best Ayutthaya player I've seen in some time. They just lay down and let everyone else kill them, and that's great. We love to see it.
It's pretty nice, I do gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
I think I stabbed Portugal here. I think
this
was a Portugal stab.
Is this connected?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is definitely a Portugal stab. I did stab Portugal.
Does Bali connect to Timor?
It does not, but I thought that it did.
Okay.
So it is like kind of a misplay for me, but
you should have gone here to go there.
Yeah, and it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but it does delay tempo quite a bit. But yeah, like I take Warray for free, and I run into more. It's pretty good setup, and I think.
Boop.
Yeah, I think Polynesia is just gonna. I did talk to them a bit. They do only go after Spain. I'm not doing that, but.
Why is the fleet going there? You don't take dots until fall. So what you should do is support yourself in so you don't get murdered.
Yeah, I think Polynesia wants to get murdered, and I will let them be murdered. I am telling them that I totally will not take my home center back.
Don't worry, Polynesia. I am a man of peace, and I am fighting Portugal, which is not quite peace, but you know, I'm fighting Portugal.
I stabbed Portugal.
Yeah, look, I totally stabbed.
I would never go after it.
Listen, this was totally just a failed stab on Portugal. You could probably sell Portugal. I'm just fake stabbing. I knew this didn't border. It's a fake stab, so Polynesia doesn't bounce me, okay? And they might buy it. If I was Portugal, I might buy it. Because I mean, Portugal.
Well, the Africa moves are pretty solidly anti-Portugal too here. Portugal. The Madagascar move is probably like Crozet Basin. Like I guess I could sell this as like anti-France, but me and France, I didn't make like any other hostile moves to France. And then Australia moves like Portugal, like they messaged me after the phase came through, and they knew this is me going after them.
Because if you were stabbing France, you'd go here, and just have it.
Yeah, I would just take the free dot.
You'd have some nice glasses. This direction, you know.
Yeah.
Dot.
It's very nice.
All right.
I did manage to convince Portugal that we could still keep to our deal and like work together in Africa. And I would just take like the 2 dots over in Polynesia and call it a day. It sounds like something that I would do.
So what you're saying is that Denmark stabbed you in one area and then said, no, we don't gotta fight, right? And then you stabbed Portugal in another area, and you're like, no, we don't gotta fight.
Okay, but like in all fairness, I am planning to still fight them in South and in South
America.
Africa too. I just don't want them to know that.
You also do have slightly more leverage, given that Portugal is being murdered by, by
Their positioning,
yeah.
their positioning is so bad against Rosalie here. They really needed to bounce like turn one, but yeah,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
dead
just
Portugal.
kind of brutal.
It's dead Portugal, and it's even more dead Portugal because they didn't move their fleet here, which they needed to do if they wanted to live.
Yeah, it's so bad. I don't actually want Rosalie getting that strong because they just murked me right after
Yes, they will.
Portugal. But at
What
this point,
you're this
at this point, Portugal's not a participating character in this region.
If I was Portugal, I think the only way to survive down here in any capacity is to pitch to Roswell that you're gonna you move your fleet here and you'll convoy down to attack the Dutch, and you ask for their support from Harare.
Yeah,
Like you sit an army here,
yeah.
and I legitimately don't know what else you can do now that this position has gotten this bad.
They beg me for aid despite me having just attacked them.
Mm-hmm. An interesting strategy. Okay, well,
Very interesting.
yeah, this Ottoman thing against Oman is going interestingly.
Speaking of the Ottomans, how well in fall do you think the Ottomans are going to do here?
Based on how you're saying that, it's either going to be really good or really bad.
Do you want to guess?
Well, I can't help but notice, we got Mansa Musa here going on the Hajj again, and no units to cover Cairo.
Yeah, so how would you defend this? Because like Russia is also like the Black
Oh,
Sea here.
I can't help but notice that they stabbed Safavids, but moved a unit away from them at the same time.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And
that's
and the Safavids also had a unit right there.
yeah,
Huh.
it's going great for the Ottomans. It's gonna take
I
some real a
and it
lot of
looks.
creative moves to defend this, I think.
Let's see. Well, Austria's not stabbing them, but the Polish don't look to be very happy with them at the moment. And
True.
they stabbed Russia, I think. Yeah.
Um,
I
I think Poland is working with Russia right now.
but why does right?
I can't tell quite what's happening.
That's a
Ottomans and
fight.
Russia are definitely fighting here, but I think Russia and Poland are still
Well,
friends.
they can retreat there too. So yeah, Russia and Poland are definitely friends. I don't contest that. I'm just like, you know. Okay,
Yeah,
let's see how it goes in
it's
fall. Let's see.
yeah, and they're going to have a great time.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I would expect to see from them.
Yeah, that's how you play it,
Um, Now, Molly, this center was lost to you the moment you walked out of it.
What do you mean? No, there's just that bounce totally worked.
Okay then, but that was a free
Pope,
dot.
yeah, Pope was the Molly player here, I think.
Yeah, Con Pope.
And there is like, to be fair, like a massive coalition after him. So I think he's just trying to like work with anyone he can. So the Ottomans, I think he's trying to like get something going with them, like help him out against his neighbors.
Mm-hmm,
That's
mm-hmm.
hard to do with the Ottomans. Don't do moves.
No, I mean I think this is gonna go well. This is gonna go very well.
I'm sure.
Meanwhile, Funge somehow loses 2 over here. I don't know. I don't know how. I wasn't paying attention. They somehow converted this starting position with the armies there and there and everything. They converted that into losing both coastal centers.
Yeah. I really expected Oman's position to be kind of dead after they got stabbed by that dot and like Muscat or around that area,
I
and with the
guess.
Funge also moving in on them. But they're
Uh,
recovering it
that.
pretty well here.
Yeah,
I mean, it helps when Ottomans don't do moves and Funge does this, but still.
I mean, too, for Ottomans doing moves. No, Ottomans were doing moves would have changed things because they could have cut this support. But there's no point in cutting that support if you're not going to cover the dot. Hello?
Yeah, I don't know why you support into Bomo here. Like you need to cover dots.
I mean, yeah. Okay, well, how do your moves go? Let's see.
I did convince Sweden to. I did convince that guy now to not follow through with the attack on me. So pretty well actually.
There you go. Magic.
And you know how it is with like a major ally that could like ruin your game by attacking you. And you don't know if they're gonna like back off or not. So when you have that kind of uncertainty around that, you just stab France, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you fail to stab France.
And yeah, and you don't take a dog as France makes smart moves, of course.
Damn French player knowing how
But
to
it's
make
worth a
moves.
shot. It was worth a shot, right? And we didn't get like it worked out this one time. Sweden did not. Well, I didn't take a dog from France here, but
Well,
Denmark does not punish me.
it worked out the one time, except you could have been doing this.
I could have, but I need Austria as a friend in case Denmark does turn out to be very hostile. And I can't really push from that position. Like if I take Hanover, like where's my attack really go from there?
I agree, but like,
Yeah, this was bad. I fully agree there.
but but I mean yes. So you're correct that you cannot go anywhere from Hanover, but it's like a chess thing, right? This is a similar thing in chess, right? Is when like noobs will like take their queen and just go to an attack with nothing supporting it, and it's like, well, I mean, yes, you're getting some good pressure there, but there's no like it
There's
doesn't.
no follow.
Yeah, there's no kill shot there.
Yeah. In my defense, it does go better in the colonies. We do some like, successful
Yes.
anti-French moves there. I didn't fully trust Denmark, so I did cover the dot here. But we
Sad.
did manage to take French here. It's actually really bad here because I'm on 3 dots, but I can't build, and that's gonna be really unfortunate later on because I really need as many builds as possible in this small area. There's just so many powers around it that all want my dots.
Did you tell both of these two, like, or both of these two, that you were going to support them into Potigora?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah,
definitely did.
yeah. That I'm not sure why you would ever accept that as what is this power called?
Tarina.
Tarina. I don't know why you would ever accept that instead of just
Yeah. What can I say? Sometimes people listen to me when they really shouldn't.
Yeah.
And then you'll see England dotting Spain here for Panama,
Oh yeah.
because why not?
Well, I can tell you why not.
It's
Because you're at
just
war with France.
there's so many. I forget so many things that happened this game. It's so long ago. Like so many random dottings that happened just because.
It looked almost like a blitz game because of how incoherent some of
Yeah,
these powers are being played.
yeah. They're seeing dots and taking dots with no follow through, and I am guilty of that too. So occasionally
Yeah. So
with France
there's.
here.
So you're being murdered by Moloch, basically, is what I'm seeing here.
Yeah. Of the anti-Mali coalition members, I am the weakest one by far. It would have been better if I had like Gold Coast take Dahomey,
Yeah, if
but
you had
like
done
as
this,
we're
because
taking,
then you retreat this way, and you have like the 3 units, and you can you maybe have a little bit of
yeah,
play in the area, but it's still not very good because there's no
yeah,
point there. So
it's not ideal. but Mali is kind of getting murked by everyone, so they can't realistically afford to like focus me
Yeah,
down. I think.
this is the furthest they get because they only have the 2 units here. I mean, they have the 3rd one there, right? But they're not going to move here because the moment they do that, some like colonial is going to be like, "Arrgh."
Yeah, they need somebody else to like support them into my dots. I think I have a good enough relationship with both Denmark and Britain that they won't do it. So we should be okay here.
Yeah,
And then I dot Portugal.
yeah, that. I mean, I don't want what is this? What is this country?
Roswy.
I don't want Rosby to be too powerful here. It'd just be really bad if they were too powerful here. And
Yeah,
but
I am
Portugal
not
does have.
consistent with it though. I I didn't go for the Madagascar dot. I figured it was better to block the French build
Hmm.
instead. I think I specifically like calculated out like how many builds France would be getting, and like I think reunion was the difference between them building and not building. I could be wrong here, but I think that's kind of how it played out. Like me and Denmark are working together to take their dots over in
Oh yeah,
India as well.
that's not fun for them. And yet they still got Kutak because Mughals just walked away.
Yeah, that sucked.
Wait,
I don't remember if France got built or not here.
how did wait a
That's
second?
Tungu.
How did they get there? Oh,
English. Oh no, Eagles for different. Okay,
Mughals. What?
that's
But
fine.
there's no. Why would you? Why would you ever do that? There's no reason to do that. All you've gained is you've been oh you get some dude who's like, oh, I'm hungry. You're so here's what it is. Here's what just happened, right? England is like no, there's so many different examples I could use, right? Um, England England is a little squirrel, and Tungu is like some starving wolf that can barely stand up, and the Mughals is like this I don't know, what's like a helpless animal that like gets killed all the time for food.
I don't know, a deer maybe.
No, but the deer can like run away, but Mughals are they don't quite have that
Hmm.
ability.
Um, I don't know. We're just gonna like
Animals.
chickens, keep them in like a farm.
Yeah, yeah.
Whenever it's time to like.
Mughals is not just one chicken, but it's like a flock of chickens. And so like the chickens or whatever, they see this wolf, and the wolf is like almost dying and can't stand up, and they like peck the squirrel to death, and then they leave it like right next to the wolf, and the wolf eats the squirrel, and then stands up and just walks into the chicken coop, and it's like, ooh, you know.
Bugles are a collection of 3 dots for their neighbors here.
These moves really do look
That's
like
what I feel like
a
it is.
chicken running around with its head cut off.
Yeah.
I don't understand in what world this is your moveset. I don't. Like, just stay still. Or I guess, like,
If you
just
do it
stay
the other
still.
way around too, it's so much better. It's like Kadak is under
Yeah.
threat, but the other center isn't. Even with all of the colonials like stabbing each other now, you still figure out a way to lose dots.
They went even, actually. They went even.
True, true. That is better than what one would expect.
Of course, they went even, but
Um,
there's this big wolf right here that's been, like, it's, like, salivating a lot, but we don't really know why, so we're not going to look over there. That's fine.
yeah. Portugal-France war is also pretty relevant here. We can get to that later. And we'll look at
Yeah,
Europe again.
It's fun.
I would have, yeah. If I were France, was just supported the move to Kadak, but it works out for them. And yeah, Ayutthaya is dying.
Oh. But England decided to bounce Tongu out of that tile.
Yep. I love to see that.
Yeah, I bet you do. And then,
Yeah, I think England is like anti-Tungu because they took the dot up in whatever that dot was called, Ugly. But like, as England, you should
yes.
just like write that off
Yeah, that.
because you're
I
never
mean,
keeping that.
That was, if Mughals are supporting Tongyuan, there's no hope. There's no hope. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't know. They're still fighting for reasons.
What the hell are these
Um,
moves by Siam?
I don't know.
What? Like, what are you like? I don't.
This southbound in Thai M is certainly something.
Yeah, I don't understand because you want to have your fleets move out of the centers to go attack people, right?
Normally, yes, that is what you'd want to do.
But now you've
Um,
denied yourself. So what you could have done, right? Like just say for example, if you just move Yala here and you have Sandpit like stay still or like cut this fleet or like support this fleet, like whatever it does, is that you'd have a fleet here in Tai M, and then you could retreat to Sarawak or to Tai E, and then from there, because the middle one can pressure everything outside of it, you could have two onto WoW right away. And if you retreated to Sarawak, Spain actually wouldn't be able to cut you off. And so after that point, you could go to the Dutch, for example, and say, hey, I'm sorry for stabbing you. You can keep Sandpit. That's fine. I'm going to go attack Spain. And you can tell that I'm going to go attack Spain because I have a really good attack on them right away. And because I have an army here for some reason, right? But the fleet, like what? Right? Or I guess this army retreats here, right? So you have the armies here. You have the fleets there and there, there. And so,
yeah, you can set up some kind of line here. Like
and so in that
Portugal's stabbing
situation,
Spain.
yeah, in that situation, Siam has a really, really good attack on Spain for a couple of dots to make up for the failed attack on the Dutch. And I think that you in the Dutch position would be, I don't know if you'd go along with it. Maybe you would, right? Because you have a decent line on England if you want it here like this, right? And you can kind of join in on Spain like this, like go up there. Like I think the right pitch could get you to go up there because Spain is pretty weak in the area now that they've moved everything north and they have Portugal trying this.
Yeah, like Siam is weak enough where I could
You're like,
go on and like come back for them.
yeah, and I think that you could make that pitch if you're Siam, but you can only make the pitch if you can actually attack Spain, and you can't because you self-bounced in the most important tile in the region. And now this fleet is useless, and this fleet is useless because you're going to have to go there or there, and or there, I guess, but all of that's useless. You get nothing.
Yeah, it's brutal, and they're being stabbed by China and Tungu as well. Ego is just dead here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not surprised. That is earned.
Yep, makes me happy though. Portugal is just like letting me take their dots here. I think we did kind of agree where they just like give these two centers to me. So I take them. So it's pretty nice.
They actually just gave those to you.
Yeah, I didn't like fully believe them. So like I could have gotten my home dot back too, as well as both their dots, but I didn't believe that they would actually do this either. So it's nice to see, but I don't know why they would do this.
Well, that's guaranteed next year anyways, so you're okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah, normally I'd be worried about Polynesia here, but they're so locked into a death war with Spain, I don't think they would dot me. And they trust me for not dotting BAM, so I think they won't go for it.
But this fleet is just worse in Solomon Sea. Because you want to have
the
fleet here and here and here, you cut this, you take Kanaki. It forced
They would be able to take Kanaki if they didn't move out. Yeah, that's a choice. Huh. Yeah, no, this is just terrible.
I'm surprised
I guess if they're in Solomon,
if I was England,
if Spain has builds.
If I'm England here, I'm like, ooh, free dot, right?
Yeah, I mean, Polynesia is not going to be able to defend it.
Well, either you say free dot, or you go, or you hold, right? Either you say free dot, or like you hold, or you move this fleet here to coordinate against Spain. Basically, having the two fleets here and here is the worst of all outcomes because you can't effectively get France. You can't dig France out of Tasmania. Where if you have a fleet here, then you can dig France out of Tasmania by supporting a fleet from Botany Bay out to Australian Bight and then in. Or if you have a fleet in Australian coast, then you're earning Polynesia as an ally, and then later you can maybe get them to do this for you or something.
Yeah, this reads to me like they were thinking that Polynesia might try to dot them, but they weren't sure, and they just went for the safest move possible. And it's just guaranteed that they get both of those dots, but it's also the worst position you can possibly be in at the end of this year.
Yes, crippled future growth. Because if you build a fleet in Botany Bay, France will see it coming, and it will take you 2 years to take one dot.
Yeah, it's horrible. Um, it's I don't know. It's safe, but it's on a turn where you really can't afford to do that safe set.
It is
And
safe,
like
but your goal is not to be safe. Your goal is to win.
yeah, like Polynesia. Very rarely do I expect Polynesia to try to dot Britain here.
Yeah.
Like that is a risk that you can absolutely take. Um, have you looked at all the news, or are there more?
That's about it.
I think
Right?
it's all of mine.
You're like moving to dot Oman, and you're going to get away with it too because they have nothing.
Yeah, Denmark completely backing off of me. It gives me a lot of room to do whatever I want in this region. It's a like I have so many fleets in this region. I'm kind of just like pushing out from the middle into everywhere else.
Yeah,
So
this is just
like
everyone else just loses their positions here, and there's nothing they can do about it.
yeah, I just build like five more five more fleets and just take everything.
Yes. And with that note, how many fleets did you build, Salt?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh,
I went plus
6.
7 this
6.
year.
6.
Yep.
Yep, plus 7, but
And notably, this is a rare first place Dutch position.
oh boy.
I know.
I feel like being
I
first place
shock
as the
even
Dutch here is
myself.
actually bad, though.
Oh yeah, we are absolutely going to get coalition at some point in the future. But
Yeah.
every colonial is fighting every other colonial. It is complete chaos. And that is where the Dutch thrive.
You know, I have a feeling that might have something to do with the fact that all the colonials are, like, told you have to kill other colonials if you want to win.
It might have something to do with that. You might have a point there.
Yeah. I
I,
don't know, though. I'm not sure.
I think Spain and Portugal is like the funniest war to me because I don't think I actually checked what their win cons are, but I don't think they actually have to go after each other.
I
At least
feel
not
like
in
these
Europe.
two being hard-coded to kill each other wouldn't, like, make sense. Yeah, no. So
Check.
Spain's are kill. Okay, so Spain either has to kill France and take Milan. So either you kill France or you you have to kill Portugal and then have an Austrian home center. So Trieste. But if you want to have
Okay, they start with
Trieste,
naval.
if you want to have Trieste, you got to kill France anyways.
Yeah, and Portugal doesn't have any win cons to go after Spain.
You know, Portugal is I don't know, is take Dutch stuff and take Dutch stuff and take Brazil. So yeah, I don't understand, but
Yeah. I love it when a country has two win cons that both involve taking my dogs,
mhm. and yet they
Guarantees that we'll
still
have a peaceful.
and yet they still believe that you weren't going to stab them. So I mean, who's really the winner there?
It is going surprisingly well for me. And they
Yep.
do still have like 4 or 5 armies against Rosby here, so they're holding the line for me while I can take all
Yeah,
of their
how
dogs
did
behind them.
Rosby screw up these tactics? What in the world did you do to not win?
These look
Oh well,
kind of fun to
you
me.
supported Oman to Zanzibar. That's what you did. That was a terrible idea. You should never do that.
Yeah, they are making progress. Not enough progress, but progress.
There's not progress there because you got one dot, but you lost two, and now Portugal has a good perimeter.
Oh yeah, they did. Okay,
See,
yeah, no, these are terrible. Never mind.
awful.
It's just back and forth between these two, and I wonder who gets to capitalize on that.
Hmm. I don't.
Definitely not me, right?
I don't understand.
Crazy.
I don't understand how that turned... What? So this just still confuses me a lot. Why was there an army in
Trying to take
Kasama?
Beira, so
Okay,
the
back...
tap on and Goche like guarantees it.
Okay, back to spring. Yeah, that explains what happened. They tried to get fancy with it without having their armies in position to do that. So they actually
They
lost in the
also
spring.
supported an army that's moving, which is definitely something you can do.
Yeah, it didn't have any
Totally.
impact, luckily, because
Portugal didn't.
this army didn't move, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. Not the best tactics that we've seen.
Okay, well, they'll be embroiled in a war for some time.
Yep. And I get to do some profiteering on that.
Okay. For
good.
everyone unaware, I turned off my mic for the recording. I sneezed, but I did not ruin your eardrums with that. So, on we go.
On we go.
Hey, look, Russia built a lot of armies.
Who would have thought?
Hmm.
And Russia doesn't even have like the normal like kill shot moves of like going to their like northern coast and like convoying in.
Yeah, because there's no...
Like you kind of, yeah, like this like Shachi nation, like they're around, but they kind of is doing like they've been banging their heads against Japan the entire game, and they're not winning that fight.
Yeah, no. And they never
So
will.
Russia's a good position here.
Well, I guess on to moves. Why are you building an... Oh, it's because China. You can know that.
Yeah, I well, China and Yunnan. I think maybe China's stabbing Tungu here. At least that's what Tungu's worried about.
Well, this is a stab, right? Because...
Yeah, it's a stab.
But, like, I don't know why China... Like, I don't know why now.
Yeah, you let Tungu convoy away before you do this.
Also, you try to not have a fleet here. Useless.
It would help.
Yes.
But it's ego, so ego won't be able to defend it anyways.
Alright. Moves. Let's start with your Europe
again?
Yeah.
Yep. Nobody's attacking me except for France, but it doesn't really matter what France is doing.
Well, France is getting killed, is what
trying...
France is doing.
Yeah. I'm kind of taking over France's stuff everywhere except Europe here. I don't really have a good line on them here, but I am trying to like kind of support Britain and do things there. I don't know what to say.
That looks an awful lot like a
yeah. Did that go through? I think it did go through. Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally did convoy into
What?
Yeah, I did stab England here, didn't I?
And you went here with support from Denmark, and Denmark supported these two to hold. Yeah, you guys just stabbed England and convoyed an army in.
Yeah, no, we're doing great. And we will continue to do great against Britain for the rest of the game.
It looks like Britain will still win this fight, despite that.
This is not terrible. Like I get into, Denmark supported me to North W, so like that fleet's dislodged, right? Denmark still has fleets around here. I have another army I can convoy in from Hamburg. And like York is a pretty good spot to be in if I can get the guesses right. We have 4 total on
Edinburgh.
We have number 4 on London if we want to use our position for that. Like a lot of tough guesses for Britain, and Denmark is also attacking them like across the north here. It's like they border like Greenland and North America, so pretty rough time for Britain all around. And Britain is still fighting France, even though France is kind of losing that fight. But yeah, this is kind of when I decided to go for my 6 British corps WinCon. And I also need their dots in Asia, so I'm stabbing them there too.
Well, that's pretty easy because they literally never built another unit there. I don't know what they were expecting.
Yeah, just 3 dots there.
Yeah.
I think this initial stab goes kind of well, but Europe is still just so rough of a place to be in because my youth in Europe have nowhere to move to. Every bordering province has somebody else's like unit in there. I can't move on land because Austria is blocking all of those tiles. Me and Austria are trying to coordinate against France here, but it's still like it's so hard to move anything around
Yeah, well,
here. So
they should have done this or something.
I don't know why they go to Trieste here. It's so
Yeah.
I don't get it. And they're
No.
still working with Denmark. I don't know why. And they stabbed Poland here, so they're never going to stab Denmark ever.
They've been fighting Poland, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah. And Ottoman stabbed them, so that's fun. Not well, but they do try.
Yep.
But yeah, Europe is just a mess.
Classic.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ooh. So South America. This looks about what I expected.
Yeah. I take French dot. France takes my dot. And Torino stabs me, so that army is actually popped, which is
Yep.
really bad.
Dead.
Yeah, not the spot you want to be on. My Indonesia colony literally does not matter, by the way. If I don't have at least, I think it's 4 dots
Yeah.
in South America. If I don't have those 4 dots in there, it does not matter how big my other um, colonies get. I just don't get the win con.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It literally doesn't matter. If you don't have, you need 2 in South America actually, 4 in Africa. So actually, it's not terrible.
Okay. It's doable, but like Torino stabbing is you're just gonna keep going. At least that's kind of how this feels. I would keep going if I were Torino here, but I think I'm trying to like pull some like press magic with them, but it's
Yeah.
their best move is to just kill me.
Although it's kind of it takes a while for them to actually do it, so that helps.
Yeah, and Spain and Portugal are completely just useless against them too.
Yeah.
Spain just holds one of their armies on the border. Portugal moves completely away from them. Um, this might have been when Mapuche got a sub. The old Mapuche player was kind of making some like really terrible moves around, but this new Mapuche player manages to like really manipulate the dynamics in South America a lot, and they're
So you're
starting to
saying
make some progress now.
that the sub will happen after this moveset, right? Because they just let Portugal walk into a dot.
I don't know when this stuff happens. It might have been after this.
It will be after this, I think. I think it will be after this.
Probably. Yeah, this is pretty terrible for Mapuche. It's gotta be after this.
Let's see.
But I don't like these Portugal moves either.
Oh, okay. So you're just going to fleets and being like, bye.
Yeah, I actually kind of backed off of Portugal here. I know I had a reason for this. I don't remember what that reason was in retrospect. But like Portugal is like kind of probably just like suicide into Rosby here.
Well, I can see that the reason's pretty good. The reason's really good. It's because these two are just fighting forever, and like it looks like they're just gonna be wailing at each other for like until the end of time.
Yeah, I just kind of take Portugal's thoughts whenever I want. And I do need their help in South America a little bit, so it makes sense to be nice to them.
Yeah.
I've already taken like most of what I needed off of Portugal. Their Indonesia colony is like the biggest threat to me, and that's gone.
Yep.
They disbanded both of those fleets.
I see that. Yeah.
So I'm really happy with it. Yeah, this whole area is just like mine now. Nobody can ever push into here.
Yep. 3 dots.
Yep. And I'm going after that free French center in the middle as well. Then I think I successfully managed to like get France to not build at all.
Yeah, so they just lose it. And they're gonna try to get your center, but they can't.
Yeah, I'm covering that.
All right, pretty self-explanatory.
Yep, we're just taking 3 dots everywhere else. And I do still have Spain here.
Oh yeah, like that, like this. I'm guessing. Yeah. There's no reason not to.
Yeah,
honestly.
me and Japan kind of came up with a split of this area. So I actually did agree to give Japan the entire the three home dots here. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's
Philippines.
kind of the line.
That's
So
fine.
this is actually worse for me. Like I could take those dots before Japan gets to them, but I don't want to fight all those Japanese fleets, so I guess kind of agree to
Well, I
it.
also think it's good to do that because Japan, one of their win cons is to kill China. So you set these two against each other forever, and then you don't have to worry about China getting any ideas either of coming down here.
Yeah, then it's kind of just like I just like dot Japan later on
And it really, really
when they're
helps.
focused away from that.
Really, really helps you that Ego's just given up on this dot.
It is very nice.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and like Japan, they do have a wing condition like to go south into this Indonesia area, but the three Philippine dots count for Indonesia, so they can't just like get that win con just off of those three dots alone. But there actually isn't really we don't have like much reason to fight if we don't want to.
Wait, do they have to? Oh, yeah, own either
Um,
Manila, Ilo, or Davao. So one of these three, and then two more. Yeah, literally just Philippines does it. Wow.
yeah,
That is hilariously
think
balanced.
that's that is something that the creator did say that she would change after this because it just does just give us like zero reason to fight each other.
Just get rid of win cons and increase the victory conditions.
Yes.
And then Japan will have to attack you
Yeah,
for the dots anyways because they will just need more dots.
yeah, and like it makes sense to like keep going south once you take those dots anyways. Of course, my armada is so big at this point that I don't know if it's a good idea for Japan to stab me even with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no reason for them to do, no reason for you to. You just peace forever, peace, peace in our
Yeah,
time.
pretty much.
All right.
And India is just a whole other mess as well, if you want to look at that.
What? Uh, You have so
Mughals and
many
Tungu cannot coordinate for the life of them.
Mughals. You have so many units. You have so many units. Just do this or do this. Pick one. You don't need to cut French support. There's no need for it. Just take dots.
Yep.
Also, Safavid's just not like hello, hello.
Safavids didn't have their gl glasses on.
Yeah, Safavid's their glasses. Let me just draw Safavid glasses here. They were get it like that. The
They're
glasses
wearing
broken.
blinders.
They were broken. They were wearing my
I hate
glasses,
these
but they were blind,
orders.
so they're kind of like the dark glasses, you know.
Yeah, like Safavids, they only have like 7 armies to order, and they hold 3 of them. And they're stabbing Ottomans too, so that hold up north like loses
Well,
them
they're fighting
a
Ottomans.
lot.
This is not new. They're in Basra. Like they're actively fighting the Ottomans, and they're like, well, I mean, they wouldn't attack me.
Yeah, but they don't move to Persian Gulf. They move to Bandar Abbas, which isn't under threat from anyone. Uh, Come on, you could do better than this.
Safavids learned from the great Spanish tradition of siesta.
Yeah, there's like a small break.
Yep, nap time. All right. Anything else funny that happens?
Um, I don't know. Molly's dying.
Yeah. Yeah, looks like a slow
It'll,
but
it'll,
steady death.
yeah, I'm not gonna make progress in West Africa for a long time, but I'm not gonna be killed there either.
I
It's good
think
enough
it.
for me.
I think it really helps Morocco that Spain and Portugal have inexplicably decided that they're fighting to the death.
Yeah, for virtually no reason whatsoever to. They just immediately turn one stab to Portugal, and they never stopped fighting from there.
It's like Anakin and Obi-Wan do their duel or whatever because Anakin has turned to the Sith, but like if they were both just still Jedi's and they were just fighting to the death for like some other reason, like
Yeah, just for
like
the most petty reasons.
like Obi-Wan had like tripped Anakin earlier in the morning as a prank, and, and Anakin's like, I hate you,
Yeah, That is what this feels like. And you like just have France in there like stabbing both of them.
Yeah,
Like, come on. Like you would think that'd be a reason enough for them to like work together in the region, but
look at how many armies there are from
apparently,
Portugal. Look, you have one, two, three. At most, you can say there are 3 units here, or 3 centers there. Portugal has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. And,
yeah,
and you wonder why every other colony is going to shit. Yeah.
yeah, like Spain is getting like supported into places like look at Naples, they get supported in, but they don't take it.
They support themselves to hold, but still move the unit.
Yeah, I think that's a disorder, but still, come on.
Also, on the side of Portugal having too many units here, I'm gonna be honest. None of Portugal's win conditions say have anything in Europe.
Yep,
Like,
that is true.
you can just give it up and ignore it, and it doesn't matter.
And capitals do not matter in in this game. You just like give all these dots to Spain and still have a good shot to
You'd be
win.
like, whatever. Yeah. Oh, you got Europe from me. Oh no.
Yeah, like the colonial win cons are so small that you really
Just
don't need a lot of
well,
stabs to win.
Portugal needs a lot.
Well, well, because they lost so many centers to me. But like in a normal like blank slate game, you could just give Spain like all 3 dots of your capital area and still have plenty to win.
Yep. Okay. Well, let's.
I have made that slightly harder for them though,
They made it harder for themselves.
just a little bit.
Well, on we go. What does what that was spring, so this is fall? No, that was yeah, this is fall.
That was
Okay.
fall.
No, this is fall.
Yeah, right. Okay. Back to
Uh
Europe.
yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, so
What?
I don't love these moves. I think yeah, so okay, Austria was supposed to support me into that French dot there, but they instead support England in. So it's like it's not a stab, I wouldn't say, because they're not like attacking me with the Hanover, but I definitely don't appreciate those moves. And then
It's not a stab, but it
um
is stupid.
yeah, pretty much. I don't oh god, reading these North Sea R's is such a mess. I don't it's so hard to tell what's going on.
So that's cut. That's cut. So like in any supports, I'm just gonna look like that support's cut.
I
That
don't think we
support's cut.
made any progress.
You did not because you supported yourself into London, which would have worked, right? No, because your support was also cut from England here. So
Right.
literally the only thing you could have done that would have worked would have
And I
been.
think Denmark was supposed to support me into London as well. Or I was supposed to support them in. One of those.
It doesn't matter. The only moves that
It's
would have
like,
worked would have been getting this here with support from Norway,
yeah,
or a convoy.
it's
You could have convoyed from here to there.
a convoy would have been better here. The negotiations here were so like every turn I would send like a map, like drawing out the moves, and then we like go back and forth on that, to like kind of decide what the final moves would look like. The discussions here, like I did promise them like three, 3 or 4 of the 5 British dots here, which is just brutal. But that's like the only way I could like convince them to like work with me against Britain here.
Mm-hmm.
That just like tell them that I would get my 6 cores from somewhere else, which
Yeah,
like we can look at where those cores are coming from later, as
yeah.
that will be
It'll be like here
relevant.
and like here and like maybe here or here. But like the problem is that
Yeah,
the problem is you make that promise, but then literally the only tactical way to advance is to put another Dutch army in England.
yeah, like they don't have any armies themselves to convoy over, but like I can't. I did pitch that, but like we can't go through with that because Denmark will go, oh no, you're trying to take away my
Yeah,
share
yeah, you're
of the
stabbing,
dots.
and it's like, no, I'm not stabbing. You just needed to have an army here.
I think I did tell him to build a army to convoy over too, and just didn't do it. or like at least transform a fleet to an army or something.
Yeah.
Like Jutland or like one of those fleets around the North Sea does not need to be a fleet. We have the North Sea like locked down as is.
I think
Yeah,
so.
it's brutal.
Yes.
It's a
Okay.
slog.
Well, let's go elsewhere. South America. Yay! Look at that. That's good. Good stuff.
Karina backs off of me. I don't know why.
Because they probably want to fight Spain more.
Either way, we do appreciate it.
Yeah, now you get an extra. You get to build back up. You can once again have 2 units and 3 centers.
I do get to keep my colony somehow. We do love to see it.
Also, what?
And
What? I'm not even gonna comment on this.
I can't tell when this Mapuche sub joined in. I totally forgot when it happened.
Looks like now, right? These are competent moves.
Oh, then yeah, like the whole insanitized Gulf though. I don't know. This is probably it. He's still.
I mean, maybe you like technically want to go here or you want to cut this, but I think
No, they
having the
convinced
fleet
Tarina
here.
to like support them
Yeah,
north.
yeah,
This is
exactly.
when the sub joined in.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
good. I'm not sure how they convinced him of this instead of like this or this.
The Trina player is very gullible in my experience. You just talk to him for like 20 minutes and he'll do what you need him to do.
You just got to do it close to deadline, I'm guessing.
Pretty much. I think like 2 hours before a deadline every day is when I would start talking to him to coordinate moves.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked pretty well most times.
All right.
Let's look at Africa.
Okay, looking good.
Yep.
Except I don't know if I like that move very much.
I don't either. I just kind of have to hope that Denmark doesn't dot me. But I think they need my support in England and too much for them to go for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I don't dot Portugal here. It's Spring's turn, so I still can. But I don't go for it.
Yeah, this is fall, but there's no reason to dot Portugal here. He's being a buffer state.
Portugal is being a very useful janissary for me right now. He's doing the
Basically.
orders that I give him.
Oh, France is
I
being
don't know when
annoying.
it was, but at some point I just started like drawing out the moves for Portugal to make and sending that to him every turn, and he would do them.
I can tell the tactics are actually passable now.
It's a pretty nice setup we have. I'm sure I would never use that against him again, you know?
No, it's fine. Nothing bad will happen.
Doesn't sound like me.
This certainly doesn't look coordinated.
Yeah, no, there was some like miscommunication that happened here. I I definitely, I don't know if I drew these out or not, but like I did tell Denmark I was going to the middle here. I told him to go to the west spot, and I think they just misordered here or
Well, it works
something.
to your advantage because he can't build another fleet there, or army for that matter. So it's good.
Yeah. I would have liked that position though, because I could like convoy up and take that start taking that core from Britain.
Yeah, but I
And
think
I
Denmark.
really need to start working on that sooner rather than later.
But I think Denmark being slower here is better for you in the medium term because they don't have the leverage to stab you here now. Whereas if they had gotten if they had gotten here, they could have built the fleet here and done like this or something, and they can't. So it's better.
Yeah,
let's see, Indonesia.
the delaying of the progress deal is still pretty brutal.
Mm-hmm.
I just free positioning up here against Ayutthaya, Spain, and Britain. I'm getting free dots from all of them.
Yeah, look at that. And yeah, Spain just lost everything that they fought for.
Yeah, like literally everything too. Oh wow, yeah, that's brutal.
Everything.
Poor Spain. Oh my god.
They'll get back Iloilo, but that's it. Right?
Yeah, that's the only dot they hold here. I pray Nukor too, but that gets dotted as well. next year.
Next year it will, yeah, definitely.
Like, wow, yeah.
Dead
I don't
Spain.
know. Yep. And then France dots England. I'd love to see it.
I'm not sure why England didn't bounce that.
I don't know. Polynesian style maybe.
Well,
I think it's too little, too late.
but right?
I don't know.
Like you see the
This is so weird. Like Polynesia does actually build here, yeah,
yep.
and they wouldn't have built if England didn't do that. Or no, maybe they don't build. They do take
They
one
do
dot from them.
because 1, 2 they took and then 1 they lost.
No, they lost two because I took another one off them.
Oh yeah, true. They would have to disband if England hadn't supported them in.
Yeah, okay. I guess they don't build, but I still don't know why England would do this.
Yeah, I mean, there's still no reason to
England
do
is
it because
still fighting France. England and Spain are still like actively fighting in like Panama here.
yeah, I guess.
I don't get it.
Whatever. I'm not going to try to understand what the purpose of all of this is.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the next season and we're going to enjoy it. Because there are builds. Salt, you have builds.
I love builds.
Builds.
I am plus
That's
7
army.
again.
Fleet.
I'm at 34 dots out of 35 needed to win.
I would say the fact that the
So-
army build from Denmark comes in Narvik is...
I know. They needed an army in Bergen. It's so, I don't get it. I don't know why you build this army. Well, I
Stab
guess they're
Russia.
fighting Russia. Why? Yeah.
But, like,
Like,
it takes so
you
long.
gotta convoy to England. Like, the fleet in Copenhagen, too? Like, if that was an army, you can
I mean, I
convoy it
guess-
over to
Okay,
England?
so here's my take. The army in Narvik is required because if you do not build it, what you're likely, like what you could have seen, right? Russia builds an army in Murmansk, right, or a fleet for that matter. Say like Russia builds a fleet here, and then Russia can start going up here if they have fleets, and they can do this, and it gets pretty annoying pretty quickly, and there are dots you might lose.
Yeah.
Now,
You gotta hold the
now,
line there.
to be fair, it takes Russia a full year before they can even take any dots if you have one army and one fleet in the way. So I wouldn't be that concerned, but I guess he was.
Yeah. I don't know. I can see, like, the intent here, but, like, no build against Britain. Like, you need the convoyable army, or you just...
Yeah, and
That's how you kill Britain
where
here.
did you build instead? Nowhere? You didn't have any other builds? Okay then. Yeah, I guess that's it for him. Oh no, he built a fleet here.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, he's only +2 here. I thought he was way more.
There's no point to the fleet in Nook. There's no point.
I guess it's to cover... No?
I'm not
You
going
don't
to
need to
think
cover
about that
Bath,
too
and you have
hard.
the other fleet there.
Let's think about the great
Yeah, I
Dutch
don't
builds,
know.
like the army and
I do
The
love the
army.
Dutch builds.
army.
Yep. And some
And,
more...
ooh,
Army
ooh,
Batavia, actually.
army.
Yeah.
It's an army, guys. Look at that. It's an army. All right, we'll zoom out
You
a
can
bit.
convoy that somewhere fun. I do have, like, complete control over the entire ocean here.
I think you just
So
convoy
I
to
can- I can-
like Australia.
That is the current plan. I can also convoy it up to Ayutthaya, though. So I am considering that.
Yeah, I guess actually right now it just stays put while you get fleets set up for it. Right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to want to do
There-
this with support.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, you don't. Actually, I lied. You can convoy. You
Yeah,
could
me too,
convoy
you're
it.
right.
You could convoy it here if you wanted to now, or like here and then.
Or, like, up north works, too. If I want to get a position against Siam.
Well, you have to have fleets to convoy there first, right? Or I guess you could.
I do have the fleets right now.
You could convoy that way.
I don't... Yeah, I am considering that. There's a lot of, like, negotiations around who gets the Siam dots. Because, as surprising as it is, Japan and China are, like, full care-bearing here. They're locked in together.
Mm.
And they are never stabbing each other ever, at least from the vibes I get. So, China, like, I'm being kind of strong-armed into giving China prey no core here, and, like, a lot of these other Ayutthaya dots. So I
I
don't
mean,
actually gain a whole lot
you
more from
just
this.
cut them here, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the split we decided on, which is less good for me than it is for them, but like it's still dots for me. And at this point,
And it's hard for you
my
to
dot count,
hold this anyways, right? Because
I have control over Tayam. I can hold that.
well, you can, but like not easily because they'll start cutting your like flank here and then cut into here, and they'll be really annoying
Yeah,
about it. And you'd rather
like it's not great.
you'd rather give them the dot and then be like, okay, Japan, now wrong zoom out. Okay, Japan, now go fight America for that colony you need in your win condition, and then they move all their fleets away, and you know you go up there anyways, right?
Yeah, the way I'm kind of selling it to myself is that I only need one more dot to meet my win con, and I have so many options for that last dot that my dot count
Doesn't
doesn't
matter.
really matter anymore. I just need to focus on getting my win cons.
Yep.
I already kind of have my third one. I already have the colonies, so that third win con is pretty much a done deal. I just need to decide between 6 British cores or the
Germany.
German dots, and one of those is a lot easier than the other.
Yeah.
So
Although not by
let's take a
much.
look. Let's take a look at where those 6 British cores come from. This is a thing I had to do every season of of this game to see how I can possibly win this game because it is a
So
slog.
So those three are the
Um,
first candidates. You maybe want this one, but Mughals
the
somehow emerged coherent after all those terrible moves they made earlier. So,
Yeah, the two in Indonesia, the Indonesia dot and the Australia dot are by far the easiest ones to get. So I have those two like locked in, right?
mhm.
I figure if I cooperate with Denmark, I can get minimum one in Europe, likely two if I stab them later on, which I will likely have to. Um, and then I'm kind of looking at like ugly over with like Chingu. I'm trying to stab Chingu for that one.
Yeah.
Like I can probably swing that and then like support hold it for the rest of the game. And then I'm kind of looking at like Sandwich over near Falklands
Yeah.
as number 6. That's kind of the setup I'm looking at right now. Because we did agree with Denmark that I would get like one home sector off of Britain, and if I can take everything else I just listed, I can get those 6 without having to like stab anyone new.
Yes. Okay. Well,
So as long as people follow through, it's doable.
let's see how it goes, right?
Yep.
All right. Moves.
Yeah.
So
Things are
yeah,
still going kind of fine here.
Russia
We
just
make progress.
completely eats this stab and does nothing to stop it.
Yeah, I don't know how you see the army build up north and then don't think Denmark's going after you.
I mean, maybe this move is understandable. I just don't know how you don't accompany it with that. I guess maybe you're
Yeah,
scared
like
that like you land this or whatever, and then Poland walks in behind, but then you have
you can
two
self bounce
because
there and it's fine. Um,
you have two though because you can just
yeah, but like Denmark takes Murmansk here, but they can't really continue that stab anywhere. Russia just has so many armies, and Poland is just dead.
yeah. Poland gets murdered. This is dead Poland. Bye Poland. It's been nice knowing you, but you're dead now.
Yeah, like Russia is doing so good everywhere else that this really doesn't go anywhere for Denmark.
All right, let's see your moves. Okay, a fleet in Edinburgh. That's good enough, I guess.
Yeah, I would love to be taking dogs myself here, but I I can't keep Denmark on side and do that. So I'm doing what I can here. I don't
Hmm.
love it, but it is progress. I'm hoping I get my one dot from England eventually.
Okay, let's see South America. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff. I got France to stab Portugal and not me, so happy there.
Pretty easy, honestly. I don't think this is too difficult for them, to get them to do.
Yeah, and they were already fighting, so. Mapuche is making competent moves now.
Good enough, I guess. Although,
Yeah,
mm,
still rough for them.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah. Okay, let's see. Africa. Look at that. You get Ivory Coast back finally.
I know.
Now you might
Isn't
be
that
able to
fun?
build a fleet there and just yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to set up for sandwich here. Um, there have been a lot of discussions like the public chat about like how I'm going to win this because I am like the first place power and people are trying to like get me coalition. So people kind of know that I'm going for that for British job. I'm still kind of hoping I can like just dot it and England won't know that I'm going for it.
Mhm.
Um, I'm trying to work with Mapuche a little bit here, like kind of get these like southern dots around here. Um, they say they'll help me after Portugal is dealt with, which makes sense, but is going to be a while.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Still cooperating with Portugal here, which looks about right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have South Portugal, so I will keep them around to fend off the bigger threats.
Yep. Oh, hey, there's that convoy to Australia. Although this will take a
Yep.
while to pay dividends.
Yeah, I don't know why there's so many spaces in like this could all like realistically be like one space
Yeah, one big
like
tile.
inland because nobody there aren't a lot of reasons to build armies or to get armies in this area at all.
You will
All the dots
spend
are coastal,
you will spend a
so
full year walking across Australia.
yeah, it's not very good,
It's
but I have
realistic
too
though.
many fleets.
It's realistic.
It is that. I feel like this would be a better move, or at least more dynamic area if like all these like gray spaces were merged into one,
Yes.
and then
Okay.
having a army in that region be actually like something you would want to do.
Okay. Well, your Indian Ocean moves look like you're gonna have a good go of it.
Yeah,
Probably I'd take this and this if I was here. I'd be greedy, but that's me.
I'm trying to like just pop that French fleet so I don't have to deal with it at all.
You bastard.
Yeah, I wanted to convoy in, but like my move got blocked and falls. I couldn't. I could have actually convoyed in with the Tavia army,
Yeah.
and that was something I could consider doing, but I decided not to.
I would have done it.
Um,
I think because it's so important. If it's so important to you, you got to do it. And just be like,
I
hey.
think I should have. It would have been so much better.
Because
Um,
between like, hey guys, go explore this desert, and like, hold the city.
yeah, like slightly better positioning against England. English shots that don't matter is not as good as making sure I hold the core that does matter.
Although I'm also
Especially,
greedy in the sense I would have done this probably, right?
yeah, but I want to pop the British fleet. Well, I actually
French
could have
fleet.
done both if I just convoyed north, maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because like you could do this and then this.
Yeah,
Okay, well it's whatever. It
I
doesn't
think
make too
it
much of a
works out. I
difference.
have so many fleets that doesn't really matter.
Okay,
Um,
so that's your
yeah,
moves.
yeah. And then yeah, we're just
Oh, let's
we are
look at that.
killing everyone. Um, One thing to note here is that Oman is getting strong enough to kind of contest some IC control around
Oh,
India. I'm trying to get them to stab Mughals here, but I'm not sure. They don't really press a lot, so I'm not sure if they're like actually going to help me with Mughals or not. But I'm hoping that if I can get like a decent grasp of this region, like me and Denmark could like work together to get me into Bombay. That's another port I don't need to take from Europe. So I'm really hoping that this alliance holds. Like, they actually can get all 6 of my cores from places that aren't Europe, and we can like both win together here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, things are going pretty well here generally.
Okay. Well, there we go. Let's see anything that sticks out here. Let's see. Dying. Yep, you're dead. Yeah, Poland dead, like we said. Mali looks to have a not great time, but not the worst. They're fighting. Look, Mali finally ended up with a cow.
Yeah.
Making it a fleet too.
Finally. Yeah, I mean Ottomans are not doing great moves. Ottomans are pretty much just for 3 dots now.
Well, let's do it. Fall. Starting
Yep.
Europe again. Okay.
More of the same. I think. Yeah, no, there's no bungle tactics here. These are all just generally good moves that we coordinated on.
Is this diplomacy or portal?
I don't know.
Oh, there was some illegal move somewhere else, wasn't there?
I think so. Probably. I don't know where it was from. Maybe. Oh, I think it's over in like Indonesia. Yeah. Also to London, I think.
Which one?
The
but didn't...
yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what they did. Obviously it's illegal, so you know.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter.
So yeah, in Europe there's not much progress. I guess you get Alsace. No.
Yeah, actually, no, it's cut.
No. It's not cut. It's just France supports itself.
Yeah. Yeah, the siege garrison. Okay. Yeah, that makes me sad.
Oh well, Edinburgh
also
falls.
Makes me sad that Austria refuses to stab Denmark, which would make my position a lot better if they did. But you know.
Okay. Well, you know, there's that. Why? What? Okay. Well, Ireland falls for some reason. I guess because it's free.
Yeah, Denmark really should be supporting itself into Denmark's straits here. This was a spring. Yeah, this was fall, so I can kind of see why they went for the dot, but there's no way England wouldn't bounce that. And then France is like actually making significant progress up here.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know how Denmark let this happen, but not my problem.
Yeah. Actually, it's pretty good for you. This is happening.
You say that. We'll go to that. But
Denmark,
like for now, it's pretty good for
Denmark
me.
would totally stab you in the back.
Totally.
Okay, let's see. South America, free dot. Hey, look at that.
We're growing the colony again. 4 dots with 2 armies to hold it. What could go wrong?
Yeah, a little tumor. And then you keep Ivory Coast. Look at that.
Solid moves. I keep Portugal around. Portugal supports me into dots. We love to see it.
Yeah, the dots, good. And
then,
this was that's the portal. That's portal.
Oh, yeah. I do think popping the fleet here was a good idea. I think France was like fightful enough at this stage because they can no longer win that they would have just kept that fleet around to harass me had I not popped it.
Yeah, this is the best spot to do it.
Yeah, I can control this pretty easily compared to anything else.
Only problem is, well.
Yeah.
Might have wanted to do this.
Might have. I did it this way because I wanted to send those 2 fleets to take
this way.
Tasmania and that 4 over there. But this is the consequence of that. I still. Yeah, no. If they do go for a reunion next year, I can get enough fleets around to like support that in.
Sure, you can do this.
Yeah, like I could just take it right back. And an Exmouth is holding for a potential convoy next year, so you can set up for that. And yeah, we're just taking more dots everywhere, basically. Polynesia and NMR is pretty nice. 3 positioning for me.
Yep. Are you tight NMRs?
Yep. Me, Japan, and China are all like in a sort of triple here, but it's really a Japan-China Caribbean alliance that I am kind of forced to third wheel on.
Mm-hmm. You kind of latch on to
That's
them.
working out. Yeah, pretty much. If I could get them to side each other, it'd be great, but there's just no way I can break those two apart right now.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's going.
Well, on we go.
On
'Cause
we go.
we've got some ways to go yet. Builds.
Uh,
Wait a second. How
yeah.
did? Okay, so England gets lighter colored here, but somehow got
Oh yeah,
into.
England took one of my. Yeah, I think they were like retreated in or something.
They moved there
But I can
directly,
kick them out. Yeah,
but it's whatever.
yeah, it's not a big deal.
They've somehow lost that great defensive position they had.
Somehow, I have more than enough dots that I never dropping below 100%. This game, there's just no way. Even with like a decade coalition, like the Indian Ocean area is large enough at this stage that I can get my 35 centers off of that area alone. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty confident in holding on to dots. It's just like those six British cores that are the issue.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Army South America.
yeah, I think this was another. I don't know. Yeah, this is another +7 year. I think.
Yeah.
Pretty fun stuff.
Just dominating the game. There you go.
Yep, just more fleet build everywhere.
It helps when your main threat of Siam just NMRs like constantly.
It is very nice, when Cyan just hands you all their dots without a fight.
Mm-hmm. C dot take dot.
I don't think I don't even think Cyan's like that bad of a power in this variant. They just completely botched the position here.
Yep. It was hard to tell when someone plays like this.
Yeah, in
Anyways,
retrospect, one of these fleet builds probably should have been armies to like convoy into somewhere
here
into
or
Asia
here or
here.
here,
But
anywhere really.
yeah, it's I can transform those. It's not that huge of a deal.
Okay, well, it's whatever. We'll just keep on rolling.
Yep. Let me go spring news and go. We'll probably go a little bit faster here. It's
Yeah, I
not.
mean the nuances are kind of done. We know what's going on now.
I am taking dots.
Yes, you see dots, and England walks out of dots because they're so kind. But France says no.
Yep.
France.
I do get Alsace this turn though.
Yeah, there you go. Now you can actually set up to go east if you want to try to get Germany instead.
I don't know. It's probably way too late to even start going in Germany now, but it's
Yeah,
something.
unless Denmark actively throws it to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he'll want to do that for some reason.
Spain and MR, that doesn't surprise me.
Look at Russia though. They just hold everything on the border.
Why?
That's a great question.
Okay then. These two are still fighting, and Russia hasn't killed them.
Yeah, Russia is just staying at the Great Wall of China here. I They need the dots though, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay then.
And I'm just taking dots.
An MR. That will do it.
Yep. I don't think Ayutthaya does any more moves for the rest of this game.
The wonders of playing with ego, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's see, Africa.
There's some slight tension with China here. That's about it.
Yeah, it's like they probably are like, hey, are you actually gonna keep your end of the deal? That whole kind of thing.
Yeah, that is exactly it. But it's not. It's fine. They don't really have the fleets to attack me.
Yep. Danish India is dead.
Yep.
Mughals somehow have a playable
Unfortunate.
position.
Somehow, we really weren't expecting it after that horrendous 2 years, but they have recovered.
I feel like they
And
could
we
have
will
been
never
in
know
this
how.
spot like in year 2 if they had played it correctly, but but
Yeah,
better late than never.
Yeah, it's actually surprisingly, but they probably can't win anymore. But like, it's a tough nut to crack from this point.
Mm-hmm.
I can probably like Tungu is kind of like not throwing to me, but they recognize they kind of like suiciding into China here and hoping that I will not dot them, and that is their entire game plan at this point.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and their position here is just kind of horrendous too.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay, you're digging way over there. Okay, then.
Yep, we're getting this surround on Polynesia, and I am working with Japan on this as well. They're going to like North Pacific Ocean and wrapping around to like South Pacific Ocean, or at least that's the plan.
They'll give it a go.
And we're just gonna, yeah, just gonna island hop until we take all of the dots.
What? What did you possibly tell them to get them to do that?
I think I just told them it was a free dot and that they should go for it, and they did.
The only reason it is a free dot is because they somehow didn't get bounced out of Lindy.
Well, it's also because I just like control Portugal's fleets. I just tell Portugal what to do.
But like, if they had gotten bounced here and you have a fleet here and a fleet here, what you're going to say is you're going to say, "Oh, don't worry, Portugal, I'll help you." You know?
What? No, I would never do that. I would never. I don't know why you think I would do something like this.
Meanwhile, France is spiting you in Sandwich.
Yeah, that made me sad. I'm sending like more fleets just like around to like wrap around and take Sandwich.
I'm gonna go like this.
Can't hold on to it forever.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there we go.
Yep, you probably just go to fall, I think, if you want to.
Oh.
More of the same. No, this is not Wednesday. This is the turn. Yeah, this is when the coalition happens. Okay, Denmark and Austria stab here, which is very bad. So, my 6 British Corps dreams is very much in jeopardy right now. So I'm still okay. So actually, I in hindsight, I know why Denmark was stabbing this, but this was like a huge fight between us. Britain, the Denmark thinks that I've been leaking every single one of their orders for the past like few turns. They think that I've been leaking to Britain, and that's why we haven't made as much progress as we should have. And there were a few turns where like we kind of like miscommunicated tactics, as you saw, or like we're Britain got like a good guess on them and like bounce them out, and they think that's because I've been like communicating with Britain and like kind of leaking Denmark's moveset to them. They also blame France stabbing Denmark on me. They think that I've had some secret alliance with France to go after Denmark. Never mind that I've been actively stabbing France in every theater we're in.
Yeah.
These are all like real things like that were given to me as reasons why Denmark stabbed me here. Also, Mughals. They think that I have the secret alliance with Mughals against them. Yeah, this just sucks.
Did Denmark ever consider that maybe an army would have been useful for progress?
I could not tell you. But you know how I said like I was like drawing maps, like coordinate moves between us? Yeah. Apparently, I only learned this after the fact, but like Denmark told me that he does not like it when you draw orders because apparently you feel like they're easier to leak that way. I feel like he could have said something about that on the several turns I did that on, but
that's good to know because I've played with him a few times and never figured that out. So I'll keep that in mind.
This is like I've played several games with this player before, and I never knew that until after he gets like angry enough to attack me over it.
Mm-hmm.
Never like there was never like any hints that he was upset with like me drawing moves on the mouse. It's like completely came out of nowhere. I maybe it's like retroactively trying to justify the stat. That's kind of how it came across to me. But like that is a very simple thing to solve if that is something you were actually upset with, I think. But yeah, this he
Oh.
stabs in like every theater here.
Ooh.
Like West Africa, he stabs. South America, he kind of stabs.
He tries, but there's not much to
Um,
stab there.
yeah. India is the funniest one. Because we actually, we planned these moves together. So he knew that I was going to move to France here, and he didn't. He knew I was doing that move, and then didn't defend it.
He probably thought you were stabbing him.
So yeah, I mean, I had consistently been doing the moves I'd drawn, but I don't know. I don't. I don't know. This just feels like a terrible stab to me. Because he's putting his colony win in jeopardy with this. He needs 10 centers outside of Europe to fulfill one of his dots, and the only way he loses those at this point is if I kill him. And I haven't had a reason to kill
Or,
him up
or
until now.
well, either you kill him or he kills himself. He's killing himself.
Yeah, like his colonies are not that powerful without me backing them up. And now I'm just going to kill him.
Yeah, India's dead. He's gonna live in Caribbean because you don't have any fleets, but he's not gonna get much out of this.
Yeah, but he's actively fighting France there too, so it's not like he's gonna make progress. And in West Africa, I have like 3 fleets in South Atlantic that I can bring up to attack that. It's
If you want to, yeah.
ugh. I mean, yeah, at this point, like I have more than enough dots that I need. I can't make peace with Denmark. I have no reason not to just attack them everywhere I can because of this stab.
Yeah, just defer builds and just
Um,
build in Europe as much as you can,
yeah.
which is not much.
Silver lining of this though is I do manage after this turn. I do manage to convince Austria to turn around and stab Denmark.
Good.
Austria finally reads what their win cons are and realizes that stabbing me does not give them any of the dots they need for their win con.
Amazing.
And Denmark is just leaving this area so free for them too. They are not spending these dots at all.
Yeah, you can just walk up and take them.
You really can. I don't know how Austria has resisted the urge to stab until now.
Well, until recently,
But
they had like 2 units here and like Copenhagen or whatever, right?
yeah, and like England at this point is kind of like throwing to Denmark, kind of just like they're working together, but like the deal between them is basically like England gives Denmark pretty much all of the dots in this general area, and they fight me. I don't know what England really gets out of this. Like they break up the alliance, yes, but if you want a stronger position, you can't give Denmark your dots either.
Generally, you want to make concessions. You don't want to jump off a cliff.
Yeah, like this British position has kind of been dead for a while, so like
That's true.
they can't win anymore. But also, there's no reason to like suicide either. I think.
This is probably a pretty effective way to drag out the game, at least.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, well,
Um, but yeah, Denmark knew pretty much every move I was making here, and then barely takes any dots off of me. I think the only region they make progress in was like Africa. So
yeah, what they like
yeah,
tried to dot you
it's
for Amsterdam, but they like
they
okay dots you out
knew
of
every
Hamburg.
single move that I was making here.
There's just not a stab here.
Yeah, I bounced them out everywhere.
And I think if maybe this is I wasn't there obviously, but maybe if he comes to you and goes, "Hey, can I have Dahomey? I need a dot for like to build an army up here or something." I don't think there's a like I think the chances you say yes are decently high.
Yeah, I have so many more dots than I need right now that I generally like in most games I would not just give away a dot for free, but in this game I would because I just have no reason not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is I heavily disagree with this stab, but I don't know. He thought I was leaking like every single order he had. He like kind of like blamed his lack of success everywhere solely on me. I'm not entirely sure where that came from. I know England was kind of like the main person behind that, convincing him that I was like telling everyone what his moves were, which for the record I wasn't, but
Oh
England
well.
managed to convince him that I was. Um, I don't know if there's anyone else really convincing him of that, but like it really worked. Like England, he like fully believed Britain on this one.
Well, onwards we go. Right? I guess we'll just check out Indonesia, but it's just free dots.
Yeah, I mean, three dots.
Yeah. Ooh,
We
my
do
dog's
enjoy
bark.
those.
Bark, bark, bark.
Polynesia was surprised that I stabbed for the three dots.
Oh. Oh. Francis guy died. Tragic.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. There's a whole lot to talk about for builds here, but I'm just building
Another
like the
fleet
usual
there. Fleet.
round of fleets.
Dead French guy.
Yep.
What is his army there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Then Denmark builds more fleets too.
No progress.
Pretty standard. Yeah, there's just no way. Like Europe is kind of not going great, but
It's
I don't need Europe
oversaturated.
to win. I just need British cores.
Yeah. Well, if you. What is it? 1, 2, 3. I'm just thinking like realistic
Nay,
lines.
I wouldn't count Bombay.
4.
Sandwich is 4, and then it gets rough from there. So at this
Yeah.
point, I'm kind of thinking I might need to like get the South Atlantic fleets up into North America.
Yeah,
So
like
I start talking
5,
to
6.
Cherokee, so like potentially like get me a few dots there. I think the deal we start making is that like they'll let me have some of the British cores there if they can take second place. So they want me to stab Japan because right now Japan is number 1 because technically I have more win percent than they do, but they have 2 of their win cons. I only have 1, so Japan's like won the game right now, but the game only ends with like 5 people win.
Mm-hmm.
So Cherokee wants me to stab Japan so they can take second place behind me. I'm 90% sure that they would just stab me for first place, but I kind of have to take that chance now that I've been denied the British cores over in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty clear,
Oh,
I
it's not
think.
a great deal, but it's a ray of hope here.
Well, onwards we go. Moves.
Yep.
Let's see, Europe.
Europe is a mess.
Yeah, that nothing happens. I mean, I guess Austria gets into Hamburg, but like Austria also gets into a
Yeah,
lot of other.
Austria completely murders Denmark here.
Yeah, this
Um, do
Denmark
we think
forgot
this
his
will cause
glasses.
Denmark to? Do we think this will cause Denmark to turn around off of me?
Well, it would be the right move to make, I think.
I think so too. That was the hope with this, but we'll see.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean
Still,
I don't know.
still
It's just so
excellent.
many units here that it's so hard to take everything. I hold without Hamburg, I have 3 dots in this entire region, and there's like 7 units defending all of this.
And you can do that
It's
because
not
like
worth it. Yeah, because Indonesia is just so huge.
you own everything in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah. There's no way stabbing me in Europe is worth it to get dots. It's too defended. There's too many units for too few dots, and yet I'm being targeted by a coalition there regardless.
Oof. Well, let's
I
see.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out peace with Denmark every turn, but it's just not working.
Okay, South America, the native stabs you. It's to be expected, I think. Maybe this isn't even a stab because you only need 2 dots down here to have a chance at winning.
It's a stab, but
Okay.
yeah, me and Trina just kind of like he stabs me, then like I gets him to like not stab me, then he backs off and he stabs me again. It's just been like off and on like that for good few years now.
Nothing has really changed down here the entire game.
Yep. Um, Portugal started to die though, so they're not gonna be around for too much longer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Yep, you just bring the armies in, or the fleet in here.
Yep. I take
Denmark.
sandwich for number 3.
Yep. Let's see. Portugal goes there. Interesting. Oh, Portugal maybe stops doing what you say for a second.
Yeah, I think that's what happened here. I might have stabbed them. I don't know if I stabbed in South America last week or not, but yeah. Who cares? I have too many dots.
It makes no difference.
It really doesn't. I only need like 4 in this region to like keep my win con. It's fine. Um,
Okay, Persia
then
and
yeah, like
ours. Yep.
India is really rough because like the people I need to like help me take out Mughals are not doing that.
They're actually not playing.
No, they're not. It's like my best chance at this point is like Russia. Like Russia's only just now gotten into the area, so it's a pain.
Yeah.
And Oman just like refuses to really help at all in the region.
And then, yep,
Uh
Indonesia is just winning.
yeah. Yeah, I'm just taking more dots. Pretty solid stuff all around.
Yeah, yeah, that's about all. More dots. Fall, I guess.
Yep.
You're just helping Austria
Yep,
at this
you're
point. Okay.
pretty much. I think I actually do lose Amsterdam here because yeah, I think I
Yeah,
do.
you do.
No. Yeah, I do.
But it
Yeah,
doesn't, literally
that's
doesn't
pause because
matter.
there's nowhere to go.
It doesn't
It
matter.
literally doesn't. This is the one game where Dutch don't need to care about the
You kind of do.
capital. If you want to play Dutch, this is like the best game to do it in, I think.
Except for the win cons being extremely, extremely difficult.
Yeah, yeah. If Denmark had kept with me though, that British core win con would be so easy.
Yeah, you just crush them.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, Europe is just slog. Everywhere else, I'm doing pretty well in. Um. Mali is kind of interesting. Me and Denmark are kind of like both trying to go to Mali now and like get their help against the other while Mali is being killed by
Morocco.
Morocco.
Yeah,
So it's kind of funny.
that is funny.
Um, yeah, it's it's a region of the map.
Mm.
I'm just fueled by spite in that region right now.
Nothing
There's
else to
nothing
be fueled
else
by
to do.
because you won every other region.
Yeah, I literally do not need dots anymore, but I'm taking them regardless. I
C
do
dot
dot
take dot.
Portugal here, but yeah, Portugal can retreat into Natal, but like it's fine. I can still build
You just
and
build
just
here and
pop
just,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I can just like build everywhere now, every year. That's the point we're at.
Oversaturation.
Yep. And more dots in Indonesia.
I guess we'll we can just play it out, I guess. There's not much more to do.
We have 2 more years left of this.
Yep. Alright,
And we probably go
builds.
winter.
No builds in Europe, no builds in South America, no builds in Africa, or well, build in Africa.
Yeah. I mean, every core I actually want to build in, like Europe and South America, they're blocked, so I can't actually build there,
Yep.
which is pretty rough. But everywhere I can build, I do build, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is to contain
Um,
Britain from getting any ideas around here, which is probably a good idea. You kind of want to contain that little infection.
yeah. At this point, I am at 150% of my win con.
Yep.
So we're doing pretty well.
Just
Besides the whole can't get British cores thing.
Yep. Tough
You know,
sell.
I only need that to like win. You know.
Yeah, it's nothing, and like there's no way you ever get any of this. Is the sad thing.
Yeah, like it's so painful.
And getting to here is not very. It's not really something you can do either.
Yeah, unless Denmark sees reason and works with me, there's no way.
Denmark's dead now. Denmark has no chance of winning anymore.
Yeah, they killed themselves by stabbing me. I don't get why they would do that. They had a real shot to win the game and was like tossed it away.
Ah well.
Not defending Austria just feels borderline like a throw, honestly. Because like this was actually like one of the few regions Denmark needs to win. Like that's one of their win con areas, and they just left it completely open for Austria.
Austria has
It
glasses.
Yep, took them a while to put it on, but when they did,
Oh boy.
yep,
On we go.
it was just
Spring
kind of rough.
moves.
Um, yeah, I mean, standards up. The Europe is still Europe.
Mm-hmm. Tough.
Um, yeah, the North Atlantic is interesting though. I am trying to get into position for Cherokee to support me into one of those British corps.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually stabbed. Okay, no, I actually do stab Japan this turn to keep my deal with them.
Oh yeah, that's a stab.
Yeah. I don't want to stab Japan here. I don't need the dots for it. It's not for one of my win cons, but I do need to I do need British cores here because I can't get them from Europe anymore. I need to get them from North America, and Cherokee won't give me a core. I mean, air quotes on that. I don't think this deal was ever really genuine, but it's the only shot I have at this, so I kind of have to do it.
Yeah, I guess your other shots
And
would have been to like. What would you have had to
like wrap
do?
up and
Like up
hit Dublin from
here?
behind, maybe. Like that takes so long
But then
too.
you also have to keep.
Miss-
You have to keep the other winners under 5, which feels like a tough sell.
Yes, it's not as hard as it sounds. The way I would have to do this, if I can't get the British cores from someone else to like give me to them, is I murder Japan and I keep them just below winning for as long as it takes for me to get 6 British cores. And I also do that to like powers like China, like
Like
Russia,
Morocco.
not Russia. I can't stop Russia, but like yeah, Morocco. I stop as many powers from getting to their win cons as possible until somebody decides to give me my British cores to end the game here.
And the suffering.
Yeah, that is the way I kind of have to play this now. Either hope Cherokee gives me the cores or force the game to go on long enough to where they just give it to end the game.
Isn't that a? I'm sorry, I gotta correct you. I just realized. Isn't that Chickasaw?
Yes, it is. I've been mispronouncing this entire
You're
time.
pressing the wrong tribe.
I did that in my void too. I always said a Cherokee when it was a
Chickasaw.
Chickasaw. I
Yeah,
feel so bad. It's too late now though.
they've been erased. All right.
But yeah, I did tell Japan that I stabbed him because of this. So Japan is now very upset with Chickasaw about
Chickasaw.
this.
Yeah, it's like, hey, buddy.
The Danish stabbed me, and so now I must stab Japan. That's how colonials work.
Yep.
Just yeah, just more tacticking around.
Yeah, China
The
has
Indian Ocean is my
China has
playground. Yeah.
At this point, I think you
Uh,
probably just set up like highways to convoy armies into India or something as your side project.
Honestly, yeah, I kind of have to because like I really need a Bombay now.
Yep. Well, fall.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just rough.
Hey, yeah, I can. Well, there's it's not visible on the recording, but there's a limited. Oh, no. Go back. What?
That's not good.
This is spring. This is fall. There's a limited number of slides up at the top above my cursor up here.
I only need like a few more, I think.
3 more.
Oh,
Wow, yeah, England is just
Yeah,
fully throwing.
yeah. They're giving everything to Denmark
Yeah,
to stab me, even though they don't
doesn't
get
matter.
any dots off of me.
Denmark also
I
can't
don't know
win.
why England is doing this. And then Austria tries to go into like I know I me and Austria are still like coordinating everything here. So this is all agreed on. And Denmark is barely trying to defend this stab too.
Hmm.
Um yeah. So this is just not fun.
Okay, well, at least, you're getting a fleet over here, so maybe there's a chance.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. That's it's a long shot, but it just might work. And I just kind of have to bet that it will.
It's just stupid enough to
Sandwich is
work.
also annoying. I managed to lose that dot
Oh, God.
somehow. So I have to like go back and take it now.
I see all the fleets converging.
Um yeah. Mapuche is says they'll finally help me with it, but Mapuche is not the most trustworthy person.
Hmm. They probably won't help you because
So
they want to keep the game going to see if they can try. Make an effort.
yeah, they don't really have a reason. They want the game going as long as possible. And then with Japan, I could stab them a lot harder than I actually did here. But what happens, like we're basically coordinating things to where I only take the one dot off of them. Like Cherokee is still kind of happy that I'm doing what I said I would,
Yeah, but it's like a
but I
full
don't
stab.
actually like fully stab Japan here. Like I just tell them though, like whenever I get my sixth British Corps, I'll just like let them back in so we can both win. And we're kind of just like coordinating things here. I uh I did actually if you go to the last turn, I did get them to stab China.
Oh, yeah, wow, yeah, okay.
So now China is counter-stabbing Japan, while Japan is pivoting off of China to deal with me. So it's a pretty fun spot to be in.
Yeah, that is something.
The whole triple is collapsing.
Reduced to
Um,
ashes. And on to builds.
yep,
Let's see, no builds in Europe.
I
No.
am.
Oh, finally, South America build. Look at that.
I know. I'm at 175% of the SCC, by the way.
Oh, boy.
The first place player is at 110%. Just give a reference here.
Okay, okay.
This game is kind of insane.
Sounds about right.
Just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm stabbing Beagles now, like kind of get into that last center.
This cannot be a
And Beagles
surprise to
did
them.
disband. It shouldn't be. I don't know if it actually was or not, but yeah, it's kind of the play right now. Um, yeah, it's a mess. We do have 1 year left on this. We kind of let's go spring moves and kind
Yeah.
of start talking about this, I think. So I still need six British cores, and Denmark is not going to let me have any. They have refused to pivot off of me this entire game. So that's not happening. So we can go back and count which cores are possible for me and which aren't.
One,
So yeah,
2, 3.
yep. We have three locked in. Um, I can make a play for a Bombay here if Mules don't wear glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Which it looks like they're not. So actually,
Interesting.
they can bounce me out here, but they might not, and that is a might and not a impossible to get dot. So it's very unlikely that I get it, but I can. Um, Sandwich is guaranteed for me this year,
Yep.
so that's four. And
Well, that's 4. Then, yeah,
I
this would be 5. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then I need Cherokee to give me a dot.
Hmm.
They claimed this was a misorder. I'm not sure.
Well, you're in the dot.
I am in the dot, but not because they supported me in. It's because Lakota moved out. which actually no, I think no, this was agreed on. Like this was agreed on with the three of us. Lakota agreed to give me the start. I think it's fine. Like they can stab me for it next year or in fall if they want to.
Unless Lakota, if Lakota helps you, they actually don't have a staff because Lakota would support you to hold from here, and they can cut this fleet, I guess. Well, I guess they can
Yes,
do this.
Lakota and
Supported,
Chickasaw have been
but
care
yeah.
bearing the entire game. They were in lockstep. It's nothing Lakota does is without Chickasaw's
Stamp of
permission,
approval.
or at
Yeah.
least that's kind of how this region read to me. This game,
Mm-hmm.
North America was like the year I was like least involved in though, so I could be wrong about that, but that's kind of how it looked like from the outside.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, we're just taking dots everywhere else. A lot of these units don't really have a job anymore because they're just so far away from anything that actually matters. So
Just
if I
dots.
stab Portugal again, I stab Rosui, like it doesn't matter
Well,
anymore.
actually, you don't stab Roswy here. Look, you self bounce.
Oh yeah, I was nice to them, wasn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Wouldn't you know?
Stab Oman.
Yeah,
Fight
yeah.
Japan. Going really
Me and Japan are still like fake warring here.
digging into Polynesia a bit more.
Yeah,
How did Chukchi end up?
just dots. They kind of just like fled from their homeland, and we just like let them live there.
Okay. For a
I think
while.
Japan's gonna stab them for it though.
Yeah, Japan
Yeah,
has
Japan's
two
gonna stab
armies or
them.
two fleets on it. So,
Yeah.
well,
Bye
it
bye.
happens. Into fall.
Oh well. So
Moment of
I need to
truth.
go for three things here. There are three things that I need. I brought this out of my void. Let me pull it up real quick. But hold on. Where's my void? There's a few things that happen. So first thing is that Britain comes to me and they tell me that they will convoy me to London, I think,
Or
or
Edinburgh.
might have been
Looks like
Dublin.
Edinburgh.
Yeah, yeah, Edinburgh. They tell me that they will convoy me into that dot so that the game can finally end and their suffering will be over. Um, doesn't matter if I believe them or not. I need to do that move just in case that they might actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
We see clearly here that they don't do it, but that was a thought process there.
Yep.
I have two more gambits that kind of work. I need two of these three to work. So that one didn't work. I need these last two to work to get my 6 cores. So I need Bombay. I need mules to not bounce me there. If we go to that, they don't bounce me out.
Ooh.
So we're at 5 now, and we actually get the full 6 if Cherokee does not, or not Cherokee Sea,
Chickasaw.
Chickasaw does not screw me over.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yep.
this is the story of how a 200% VSCC Dutch loses the game. I think the objectively correct play here would be to I could have kept the game going here if I hadn't let Japan back into their dots. I like even now I could have like I didn't have to like walk out here, right?
Yeah.
I did this to I think this is the objectively wrong play. I should keep the game going just in case like this exact scenario happens where I get 5 out of the 6. But at this point, I'm kind of getting a little exhausted with this game, and I figure I might as well end it and let Japan win because I don't know. I kind of like Japan. I don't want to like screw them over for things out of Japan's control.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of let them have it and say like, if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. Either way, I kind of I don't feel like trying for like extra 3 or 4 years to get that last like pry that last core off of Chickasaw's hands.
You technically have not
And
won, but like practically speaking, this is, I mean,
yeah, like another thing influencing that decision is that I can't really hold Bombay at all, so
hmm
I would
yeah,
need more than one. And then China is also kind of upset with me for some moves I made. I don't remember which moves I made. Oh
probably
yeah, it's probably those moves.
like some of these, yeah.
It's probably that, yeah. So like Hugly is kind of under pressure as well. So it's going to be a very uphill climb and take years and years. So even if I did keep the game going here, I'm not sure if I could win it with how the current setup is.
hmm
So I just decided to end it here and cross my fingers and hope that Chickasaw lets me have it, which they don't.
Tragic.
So at least though, because I let Japan have their dot, though Chickasaw does not take first, so I can be happy with that.
hmm
Japan takes first place here. Chickasaw in second. Morocco in third. Lakota in fourth, and Russia in fifth. And then there's me with more VSCC than all of them in sixth.
And thusly, the story of
So
arbitrary win conditions was told.
yeah, Dutch are fun, and like if win conditions had not existed, this would be like a one of the easiest sweeps in my life. Pretty much like everything except Europe went right for me constantly throughout the game. So I can be happy with that. Like the Indian Ocean is pretty much just a Dutch lake now. Um,
Yeah.
but pretty fun game, even though it was only like a short 7 years. Surprisingly, it felt like longer.
Yeah, I can tell. Basically, having gone through it, we've sat here for 3 hours and 20 minutes going through it. So I agree.
Just a little bit, this is just an average length diplomacy AAR.
hmm
I
Well,
think we're
that's about it.
good to end it there.
I'll have a thumbnail I'll make for this. Don't know what it'll be.
You can kind of come up. You can do like the final scoreboard. I think the sixth place Dutch at like 187%.
God, I wish I could grab that, but my Discord is... Oh, no, I can grab it. This is the one thing my Discord is showing right now. Ah, look at that. There we go. My Discord is, like, trying to kill us off right now. Let's see, we'll slap it right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how that ended. Fun game.
Alright, well, I think that about wraps us up here.
Yep.
So we'll call it quits. But, thanks to everyone for watching the, I don't know, I guess this is Salt's Pain.
It's the average Dutch experience. Even when you win, you still lose.
You still lose. There you go. Don't be the Dutch, everybody.
Don't play Dutch.
Don't play Dutch. And that
Life lessons.
yeah, that'll do it.